Hey everybody, you are tuning in to Canary News Talk live stream pre-stream. Woo! Glad you're here. Glad I'm here. Glad we're all here. This is a wonderful time we get to spend together on this Wednesday. It's WMD. You know it. You know it. Hey, while we're at it, I'm getting a message from my producer here in my ear. He's very angry, and he says, I need to tell you YouTubers to go ahead and click the like button early if you can. Apparently that helps to suggest the live video to people who are currently on the YouTube platform. So go ahead, hit that like button. You know the drill. That helps us out a lot. Thank you very much. And just the usual stuff. I don't know. CanaryCry.party. Go there. Good stuff. A little bit of a change up there. You're now able to access the podcast right there through the link tree. So that's fun if you're having trouble finding the show, or maybe you've never listened to the podcast version. Just remember, it's always there for you, waiting, watching, planning. We're going to be talking a little bit more. Oh my gosh, the email never went out. Oh no. Okay, I'm sending out the email right now, folks, so don't you fret. In the email, we actually compiled all of the Canary Cry work that we have done in regards to Burning Man research. It's come to our attention, and we'll talk about this more during the show. It's come to our attention that a lot of people, you know, who have found the show in the past couple years are not really aware of the work, the ongoing research and work that we've been doing with Burning Man and other transformative events a la Carl Teichgrip. A lot of you do know this from the old school days. But we went back, I compiled all of our Burning Man material, and there's like 10 different pieces of material, like 15 hours of Burning Man research and conversations with experts, including Carl Teichgrip, who is the man who literally writes the books on how Christians should be thinking about and approaching Burning Man. We've been doing that since 2014. So if you're a little confused why Burning Man is even something that we're talking about on the show, or paying any attention to, or indeed working on creating some more content around, you will be getting all of these links sent straight to your email box. And you can see the long history of Burning Man research that has been, a part of Canary Cry since 2014. So go check that out. It was fun kind of revisiting that stuff. And if you feel led by the Spirit to support our Burning Man research this year, there's a special link for that in that email as well. Okay, thank you, everybody. Let's get the show started.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening
listening to Canary Crime News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. We are live to tape August 24th, 2022. This is episode 526. And today, Chip in Child. Signing on from Off the Grid, Razzle Dazzle. I'm your best buddy, Basil.
And my name is Gons, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, a.k.a. the Cabana Boy with some gray coming in. Live from California, here to serve you a podcast that brings you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. And today's immersion phenomenon is... Oh, I'm going to mess this up. Chole Zagavala, which means... conspiracy theory in the Russia's mother tongue.
Oh, okay. We're going to carry some water for Putin today, huh?
Yes.
Interesting.
No, we're not. But also, just thought it'd be fun to try something in a different language, Reach out to those Russians.
Have you looked up, you can copy and paste that into your browser and do pronunciation guide. Yeah. And maybe we can get a robot lady telling us how to pronunciate it.
Do you want to hear it now? I have it.
Yeah. Do you have it?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Теория заговора.
Теория заговора.
Do it one more time.
Теория заговора.
Oh, okay, one more time.
Теория заговора.
Teorия zagovora.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, okay, that's good. We're good. We're good at this. Yeah. Professional podcasters, folks. Okay, we got a great show for you today, and why not give you a little rundown?
Yeah, give it to us.
Okay, we're going to start out by checking in with some beast system stuff a little bit early. Some implantable microchips have been part of the plan for quite some time, and we will learn more about that from the World Economic Forum themselves. Then we'll be checking in with a FLIPPY update, a true update on a not true FLIPPY, virtual rapper. Surprise, surprise, somebody finally called it out as racist. That's going to be an interesting story. Then it's Wednesday, so we're going to be checking in with the Russia-Ukraine crisis. Lots of very interesting updates there. Some include North Korea and robots and propagandists, all sorts of fun stuff. After the first break, we will be jumping into politics, an update on the Pelosi situation. No, not Nancy, Paul and his little whoopsie daisies there the other day, a couple weeks ago, a month ago, whatever it was. Checking in with Marjorie Taylor Greene, of course, Christian nationalist adjacent. And then the big story today, a lot of people have a lot of thoughts about in regards to the student loan forgiveness program from Biden. Then we'll be checking in with climate change, the green police. They're coming for you, Gons, as well as some German crackdown on our good friends over there at Extinction Rebellion. And then at the end of the show, we'll be checking in with the cyber pandemic. Yes, you too can have a creepy Mark Zuckerberg avatar face. But before that, let's start with our lead stories.
All right. Our lead story is the Hive Mind.
Collective consciousness.
And, of course, it's the beast system.
Speaking of the beast system, beast system.
And this is being shared around alternative media outlets, especially in response. And, of course, it's the article from the World Economic Forum that was published on August 16th. It's titled, Augmented Tech Can Change the Way We Live, but only with the right support and vision.
They do such a good job at making sure that everybody knows your crazy Christian conspiracy theorist friends were right all along.
Yeah.
Thank you, World Economic Forum.
Yeah, and of course, they always have that little caveat at the top. This article has been intentionally misrepresented on sites that spread false information. Please read the piece for yourself before sharing or commenting. So, it would be easy.
Do it.
Yeah, it would be easy to sort of, read another article that bashes it or whatever, but let's just take a look on our own. I'm not going to read the whole thing because,
this is what we do here.
Yeah.
This is what we do. We do the work so you don't have to, and we are going to bring you straight from the mainstream source. Just a quick comment. That little disclaimer that they put up there is exactly why we read from mainstream sources. A lot of people don't like that we read from mainstream sources and, dissect them from the OG source. A lot of people just want to read weird blogs and Facebook posts about the article without actually reading it. And that allows for the World Economic Forum to get away with a lot by putting this disclaimer there. Like, don't listen to your crazy conspiracy theorist friends. They didn't even read the article, okay?
All right, so let's read it. Here, there's a couple bullet points, but let's just skip down to the important parts. Superheroes have been dominating big and small screens for a while, but there's a subtle change happening. Many children expect to develop superpowers themselves. Hello, what have we been saying for like 10 years with predictive programming of all the Marvel? It's just kind of like, hello. I thought, we've been saying that. I mentioned it so many times when I break down Marvel movie, whatever I was doing on the Face Like This on YouTube channel. We had to stop. We had to kind of ban the term predictive programming because it's so prevalent. It became not even an interesting analysis on things. Yeah. But now you have the World Economic Forum coming out directly and basically admitting that it's all been predictive programming. Yeah. These expectations may sound unattainable, but we're already making the first strides towards an augmented society. Trade affairs are boasting augmented reality goggles that show technicians where a particular screw should go. Your own phone gives you information about your fitness in real time or tells you about the latest fad. Augmentation can be defined as the extension of rehabilitation, interesting to use that word, where technological aids such as glasses, cochlear implants, and prosthetics are designed to restore a lost or impaired function. Add it to completely healthy individuals, and such technology can augment. Night goggles, exoskeletons, and brain-computer interfaces build up the picture. The augmenting technology will help in all stages of life, children in a learning environment, professionals at work, and ambitious senior citizens. Ambitious senior citizens.
You know what? I will give them that. You got to be an ambitious senior citizen to get into VR and stuff.
So they kind of get into the, what augmented reality can do. I have some highlights throughout the article. Here's an example they give. Many children with attention deficits struggle in school. In the best case, they get special education services or classroom accommodations. However, with extra visual and audio guidance that blocks off excess stimuli, an otherwise enabled child can cope with a standard school environment. And when class is over and playtime begins, they can take the aids off. Yay! You know
what? As someone who probably could have been diagnosed with ADHD as a kid, although I never did. That was not something my parents were interested in. Yeah. I can affirm that working in VR like I do now makes it way easier to actually work for 5-6 hours straight on this podcast while not getting distracted by squirrels or roosters or emus.
Yeah, you got your own virtual squirrels and birds and stuff flying around, right?
Yes,
not the real ones, the fake ones that are bothering you.
I've got these virtual butterflies that fly around me.
Yeah.
Continue. Sorry.
Augmented reality doesn't end there. Your phone might feel like part of your body, but it's not put in through surgery. Technology will become more intertwined with the body in the form of implants, but it will also seamlessly integrate with the environment. You might have sensors in a chair, for example. Ooh. Personally, I don't mind sensors in a chair.
Sensors in a chair.
But okay.
That's the thing, man. That's how the beast system gets you. It's how it's how the book of the Revelation of John is sort of all leads up to this dystopian apocalyptic world in which all of our chairs have sensors in them, Gons.
They really have been focusing on
what will we do?
They've been focusing on the behind there a lot. Don't know why. Are we moving towards a brave new world? As scary as chip implants may sound, they form part of a natural evolution that wearables once underwent. Hearing aids or glasses no longer carry a stigma. They are accessories and are even considered a fashion item, beast fashion. Likewise, implants will evolve into a commodity. If that sounds unlikely, then consider the alternatives we currently use. Drugs often show unwanted effects because they affect multiple biological processes at the same time. Someone on long-term medication may want to try an implant that sends very precise electrical or optical pulses instead. Oh, okay.
Of course.
Getting an implant is obviously more invasive than picking up a pair of glasses. Generally, implants will be linked to medical conditions. The extent to which a particular device becomes common will depend on the technology's functionality and how far it's integrated into your body and daily life, parentheses style. And it goes on for a little bit, and then it goes into the brain implants. So brain implants take us one step further and allow us to tap straight into the body's quote-unquote operating system. Which, you know, if you were new to this kind of material and, you know, you started paying attention to stuff in the last couple years, I think it was Moderna who had their whole thing as, you know, their part of their advertising on their website was, you know, fixing or they're tinkering with the software of life or something. I can't remember the exact terminology, but I remember them using software as sort of a term that describes our biology. So very similar there. We have already started interfacing with the brain using neural probes to mitigate symptoms of epilepsy, Parkinson's disease, or depression. Much application will remain based on medical necessity rather than a mind-reading tool.
That's what they always say.
That's what they always say.
They always say.
While it is true that companies like Neuralink have been targeting the brain from the get-go, brain implants may not be the first choice in our augmented society. Yeah, it's going to be our 666th choice, I'd say.
Nice.
And then it goes on for a little bit more further down. Just with wearables, no one turns their head anymore for medical necessities like hearing aids or pulse monitors. Even in an educational and professional setting, smart goggles, phones, wristbands, and the like are commonplace. Gaming is the next target. Can we say metaverse? The question is whether implants will follow a similar evolution. Health? Plausible. Education and profession? Potentially. We may wish to give dyslexic children new opportunities through implants that translate in real time. Of course. Yeah, children with that are dyslexic, you know, just jab a microchip in them, right? On the other hand, dyslexia is a personal trait. Do we want to change that? As a society, we need to make a choice. Do we want to accept human limitations associated with learning or aging? Or aging, not Asians. Or maybe the Asians don't have to because we're allegedly smart. I don't think we are. But the final application realm, gaming, and even intelligence augmentation may seem far-fetched, but only the future can tell. The idea of a chip in your body if the idea of a chip in your body makes you cringe, consider all the pharmaceuticals you take without question. Once again, you know, making that one-to-one connection there. Yeah. We often forget that these drugs are related to amphetamines. They affect the brain and have long-term side effects. We may consider electroceuticals, small implants that mitigate symptoms of various disorders by sending out small electrical pulses. Talk about problem, reaction, solution.
Yeah, we got to remember that term, electroceuticals.
Yeah, like pharmaceuticals, but electrical signals, so electroceuticals. The limits on implants are going to be set by ethical arguments rather than scientific capacity. For example, should you implant a tracking chip in your child? There are solid rational reasons. Should you?
Should you do that?
There are solid rational reasons for it, like safety. Would you actually do it? Is it a bridge too far? You know, I'm glad that she's asking these questions. You know, at the very least, she's presenting it in the form of a question. And this is where I think this is the thing that I think people need to really pay attention to, because you know, it's one thing for us to say it. It's one thing for even, you know, the science to say it's possible. But who's really in control of the ethics? And here's what she says. Ethics should not be preached from an academic ivory tower. Rather, overarching or independent institutions should guide policymakers and researchers in the augmented society on the do's and don'ts and help build an ethical framework on societal aspects of augmented reality technology. And then she gives some examples. Again,
the appeal to authority for ethical consideration.
Not the academic ivory tower, the globalist ivory tower. Like, it's just so weird how she throws in the phrase ivory tower as this negative thing, but then she just presents her own ivory tower, which is the Council of Europe. She mentions the Rothenau Institute in the Dutch government, Chile talking about doing this kind of thing. And then she talks about how ethics will advise us. This is the last paragraph, and then we'll kind of wrap it here. With the right support, vision, and audacity, these transformative technologies, transformative events that go beyond augmentation become possible. When do we enter the gray zone? Ethics will advise us. Okay, ethics will advise us. Is ethics a god?
Ethics will advise us. It goes back to something that we've been sort of harping on for a while, but also kind of fits into our experience over the past couple of years with with everything, is that, ethics originating from elite circles, ethics originating from centralized power. This also moves into the civic atheism, the religion of atheism. They said we got to come up with our own ethics that we can all live by, and we'll be handed down from on high. But instead of on high from God, it's on high from the government. Right, and they've even talked about creating modern mythology to help assist in people understanding this new paradigm and stuff like that. So this is they're talking about doing modern mythology. I mean, they are literally making a religion out of these transformative technologies, similar to the religion based around transformative events, like Burning Man. Right. So a couple takeaways. Number one, there's a lot of counter arguments. A lot of people are becoming aware of all this stuff, but I think the World Economic Forum is able to present this and just be really outright and bold because more people are realizing it. So it's kind of a give and take here, and in so many ways, I think it's a little too late. I think this is going to happen to a large segment of our human population. And it's going to cause all kinds of chaos in the world. And I think it's going to create a sort of cyberpunk society, like people that will use the technology, but not necessarily implant. And, everyone's going to have their own sort of division lines. But we've talked about that as well with Dr. Hugo de Garis. Many years ago, he talked about the cosmists, the cyborgists, and the Terrans, and this sort of this oncoming war that he thinks, over 1 billion people can actually die in this war, which is pretty biblical. And, the thing is, though, the Bible really predicted this type of thing. This exact thing almost, and it should come no surprise to any of us that have been paying attention, but it's important to point out that it really is proof that the Bible is true, and, history written before it happens, as Chuck Missler always said, and it also means that Jesus is coming back, so there's nothing to be truly afraid of. A lot of people push this stuff in fear, but it's more so like, hey, there's hope here, there's an answer here, and that's what really compelled me when I first became a believer, and I was like, okay, is the Bible true? Let me find out some stuff, and learning about transhumanism and that whole movement in the context of the book of Revelation or the book of Daniel and stuff like that, where it's really colorful and, a lot of people say it's all analogy or metaphor. It's like, there's kind of a literal thing to it, which is the society that we're building all around us. So just something to keep in mind, that it's not this like doom and gloom thing, that at least I've been trying to thread that needle, right? Because it is sort of straight dystopian. It is disturbing, but also you got to find that hope, and that hope comes in the word. So there's that. Real briefly, one of the outlets that pushed back, the Federalist, who, interestingly enough, I did find on the Harvard list, because they boast 6.5 million viewers, and it's a private for-profit. You're talking about the Federalist ownership. But you're talking the Harvard list being the chart that shows ownership of mainstream outlets, news outlets. And it's really interesting, because they talk about how the Federalist, a wholly independent division of FDR LST Media, and they link to an article we read a couple of years ago, the most powerful conservative couple you've never heard of, Liz and Dick Uihlein, and how they were funding operations like this. So it's just kind of interesting to look at. So in the article from the Federalist, they have the headline here: UN program teaching kids SEL, that's SEL, really seeks to kill individualism. And the SEL stands, so I'll just read the first paragraph. School districts around the world are racing to implement social and emotional learning, SEL programs, in the name of improving their students' social and emotional skills. In fact, according to the global purveyor of SEL standards, 27 states have so far adopted K through 12 SEL competencies, and all 50 states have adopted SEL competencies for pre-K students. But where is this massive push for SEL coming from, and what are the motives behind it? And it goes into how UNESCO
if you know about UNESCO. Founded by the brother Huxley, obviously who wrote Brave New World. So it's all connected, folks. And it just goes into how they're basically abusing children. And, I like the end here where it talks about how they say that developing the attributes of compassion, kindness, and empathy in children is a noble goal, and some of that development can appropriately happen in school, but infusing digitally connected, UNESCO-endorsed systemic cell curriculums into the classroom of the world to instill pluralistic thinking in children is not the answer. And I tend to agree with that takeaway there.
It's when it comes to the schooling, it's interesting because, as we know, the public school system here in America has been losing funding for decades.
Yeah.
And, depending on where you are in the country, art, music, band, PE in some places, all being defunded, and those options being taken out of schools. But it takes a globalist, quote unquote, nonprofit to come in and actually add programs to schools, adding programs instead of taking programs away. So defunding public schools in the U.S., for whatever reason that's happening, you've got globalist institutions coming in and providing, I'm assuming they're providing the funding for these brand new programs built to, and we all know already that the public school system is not for education. It's to make obedient
indoctrination.
People.
Yeah.
Yes, it's indoctrination, make you a good citizen, don't cause any trouble, learn to sit at a desk for 8 hours a day so you can grow up to do your job and follow orders. We already know that that's the case. And sneaking in these programs about, emotional health and what was the name of it again? Can you?
SEL, social emotional learning. SEL.
Social emotional learning. Yeah. I mean, if there is more of an acronym for sort of brainwashing your children to just be good, obedient citizens, I could not think of one.
I'll keep you warm and safe in my people's zoo.
Exactly. And of course, the funding coming from international institutions rather than from our own tax dollars. So working directly into the World Economic Forum, Great Reset, New World Order 2.0 sort of program. Works really nice.
It's all biblical.
It's a really well organized, well executed plan.
It's got to be biblical.
And people that don't get it or maybe are afraid, they don't have any excuses.
People don't even read their Bible, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah. That is becoming more and more apparent by the day.
Just real
Speaking
quick,
of which,
before we go on, I just want to mention today it was published by HT Tech. You just won't believe that this Tesla owner did this to himself. He microchipped his hand.
I can totally believe that.
Yeah, I was going to say, that is not unbelievable at all, and it's old news. Old news. Come on, where you been?
And the fun part is, you talk about this slippery slope concept, which we've been seeing play out in the world recently in so many different aspects of society. But, it is the technocratic influence of those like Elon that have forever been sort of theorized to be what brings in microchipping, what brings in cashless society, things like this. So, of course, he chips himself for his Tesla.
Because who needs car keys? What are you, archaic?
Yes, this is old school, man. Get out of here, Grandpa.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Hey guys, know what date it is? It's Wednesday. It's time for the Canary Cry News Talk. Yeehaw!
It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday. It is Wednesday, my dudes. It is Wednesday, my dudes.
It is Wednesday, Gons. It's the party show. Woo! We're making it through this week, and we hope you are too. You got anything that you need to share with the world?
Yeah, just a real quick call for the producers.
Producers, assemble!
don't normally check Instagram, but I was kind of scrolling yesterday and I noticed that the Truth Stream Media page on Instagram, Melissa had mentioned that her husband, Aaron Dykes, went to the hospital and had emergency surgery. And I couldn't really dig into any the specific details, but I did send her a text and just say, hey, we're praying for you. So just want to lift them up, the Dykes family and Truth Stream Media over there, Aaron and Melissa. So that's it.
Yeah. Goodness gracious. There you go. Okay, producers are on the job. We appreciate that very, very much.
Absolutely.
And, of course, we're praying for the Dykes family.
Yep.
Speaking of which, I was just going through, Gons. It occurred to me after one sort of disappointing email and a sort of stark confusion that I could see a wave of confusion sort of roll over the community in regards to the Burning Man trip. And so if you got the email today, if you're signed up for our newsletter, in addition to the sources for this show, as well as the art and all sorts of good stuff, I included a list of material, Gons. Mm-hmm. I announced last episode that the Burning Man research trip is on for this year, which is very exciting. And a wave of confusion ensued because it didn't occur to me at the time. It occurs to me now that we have not done any Burning Man stuff since 2019, and we've grown in a wonderful way since 2019 through our new format and things like that. Plenty of new people found the show, and so the Burning Man announcement kind of caught them off guard. Indeed, we even, believe it or not, lost some support because of it. People not really understanding. They say, I don't want to support Basil going to Burning Man, and they pulled their monthly support, which, look, it's value for value. If the value isn't there for you, you are totally allowed to pull your support. But that was kind of the opposite of what I was expecting. But so in the newsletter, I give a little rundown of how the Burning Man research has played into the Canary Cry-averse for many, many years. In total, Gons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In total, since 2014, we've done 8 separate pieces of, audio media. Starting in 2014 with transformative events with Carl Teichribb. We've got plenty of boots on the grounds reports, Camp of the Unknown God report. In fact, we even had an episode with Truth Stream Media with the Dykes. Yeah, with Melissa Dykes there. And where we talk about transformative events, why these festivals are not just festivals, why they're not just a way for people to spend a weekend and go to a concert, and the truly astounding amount of communication, lectures, things like that happen at Burning Man specifically that almost immediately get implemented into global affairs. Yeah. One example recently was the psychedelic shaman at the World Economic Forum, the Davos thing.
They were talking about that in 2019 or something, right? When we went, or when you guys went last time. So, it took 3 years to actually get it into the big, the big party.
Yep, made it in. Listen to the psychedelic shaman guy give a talk about how psychedelics are moving into global government and things like this. And we actually gave a report on this guy, in 2018, 2019. And so longtime listeners to Canary Cry weren't necessarily taken by surprise. In fact, we had, 2 or 3 years warning that this was coming, which is kind of the point of the whole mission that we have going on here. In addition to, saving souls, talking to seekers, coming back, informing the body of Christ about what goes on at these transformative events. There was even, and you can read this in the newsletter, there was even a moment where we had, because of our visit to Burning Man, we learned about a sort of nefarious group who was a software group. And we were able to, warn
the ministry,
discourage.
Pretty large ministry. It's one that everyone probably at least heard about, has heard about.
Very big national ministry,
Christian,
lots of money.
Yeah.
They were.
Yes, those are the hints. You'll probably figure out which one it is.
It's
but
the biggest one.
The biggest one.
They were in danger of sort of getting in business or in bed or whatever with this kind of nefarious group trying to get their software into the body of Christ. And we were able to warn them. And last we heard was they avoided that connection. Yeah. So lots of fruitful things come out of these research trips over there at Burning Man. So you can check your email. You got links to all of our previous Burning Man research and episodes and bonus episodes and stuff like that. So you can fully understand the mission that we've been on for 8 years now. And so there you go. That's a little bit more context.
One thing I think the audience should understand and our producers should hear, a little inside info, maybe some alpha, depending on what you're doing. You are in contact with Carl Teichrieb, the man who wrote this book. I'm holding up the big book, Game of Gods, The Temple of Man in the Age of Reenchantment. So this is a huge tome that Carl Teichrieb has written, and talks about transformative events and how he's visited these events for a long time, not just Burning Man, but all these world event meetings and stuff where they're discussing how to control society.
It's like the textbook for Christians. Understanding festivals, Burning Man, transformative events,
documented
stuff like that. Documented, right? It's like a very academic work, and it's humongous, it's good, and we recommend everybody do it. And I mentioned that we partner with the Camp of the Unknown God when we do these things, which is it's a camp at Burning Man, and there's a bunch of Christians, and they do a bunch of Christian stuff. Carl, I actually don't know if I can give all the details. The point is, I will be doing things for Carl. I'll be helping Carl in his mission. So, when it comes to if you're praying about or trying to figure out if you want to support the Burning Man research trip, you're not just producing this show, which we have, will certainly get a lot of great content for the show, but you're also directly participating in helping out Carl Teichrieb and the ongoing sort of academic textbook, resourcing for Christians and the church into understanding these transformative events and what to do about them. So there you go. And there's a little link there if this is something you want to help out with. And if you're still mad and don't understand why we're involving ourselves with this, there's a couple concerns raised, and I just will say we're not condoning or what's the word? We're not putting our stamp of. We're not endorsing Burning Man by the research that we do.
It's like the caveat when on Twitter when people say like retweets aren't endorsements.
Retweets are not endorsements, right? But just again, it's the blood of Jesus is more powerful than any sort of spiritual danger that could be there. Don't worry, I'm all prayed up. We got the producers praying for me. I'm not sort of worried about any weirdness there. But, as Christians, we are meant to be a light in the darkness. There's a long, rich history, even back in biblical times, of people who serve God going into dark places and doing the Lord's work. And that's what we're trying to do there. So there's some more context for the Burning Man trip, which next week promises to be an entertaining series of episodes, Gons.
Yeah, well, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we will see how it goes. So there you go. That's all I got for that. And with that, speaking of producers, let's thank some executive producers.
Executive producers.
That's right. Like you heard, we are on the value for value model, which means we take no corporate money whatsoever. So it's up to those who listen to the show, get value out of the show, to put value back in. And that's the only way that it happens. you can put value back in with your time, your talent, or your treasure. We're going to thank a financial producer today who came in as an executive producer, and we're so grateful to the execs because, we don't always have an executive producer, but the executive producers, they really carry a heavy burden for the rest of us, make it possible for us to do the show and for y'all to receive the show. And we got one to thank today. Gons, are you ready?
Ready.
Okay, let me get it. Where are you? There we go. This is executive producer Mike.
Mike.
Thank you, Mike. Executive producer Mike comes in $111.11 plus fees.
All right.
And the note says, "This is for Make Canary Show."
Yeah.
Love, producer Mike. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike.
Where'd you find this?
This is for Make Canary Show. Thank you very much, producer Mike. Appreciate your support, and you're really helping make this show possible.
Yep.
And that is, as of now, the only executive producer for this episode. I will say, as happens, we like to think, but people give us props when we get banned or suspended from an outlet. People say it's an accomplishment. It's a what's the word? It's
a badge of honor, like
badge
a street
of honor.
cred.
Thank you. Yeah, street cred, getting banned. Look, the reason it bums us out is because when we get banned and suspended from places, literally people don't take the extra step to go watch the show somewhere else, and producership suffers greatly. So we are right now suspended on Twitch still, which is definitely having an impact.
I say
on
we start a
producership.
new Twitch channel and call it Cat Talk.
Yes, we'll start. We're gonna have to start naming our channel
Just
something
everything is,
sneaky like that.
Benign.
Yeah. So yeah, producership is a little low. It's also kind of getting towards the end of the month, which that's just kind of how it works. People getting ready to pay rent and stuff. But it's not too late to support the show. You can head on over to canarycryradio.com/support.
Canarycryradio.com/support.
Flippy.
Okay, Flipper.
Okay.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
All right, folks, it's time for the Flippy Update. Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world, and now there's nothing we can do about it. Today is sort of a Flippy adjacent update, and it is a true update. We've talked about this particular thing before, but as is the way of the world, Gons, people take about a year or two. The mainstream media especially, takes about 2 years to catch up to what we were talking about 2 years ago. This is coming from SkyNews.com or news.sky.com. Sky News, Australian outlet, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the headline is "Virtual Robot Rapper Meka dropped by record label over racial stereotyping criticism." Meka, described on social media accounts as a robot rapper not accepted by this world, currently has more than 10 million followers on TikTok and more than 570,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. No way. I have not actually listened to the music. Its Instagram account, which has 220,000 followers, is currently set as private. Now, I'm not going to just read, I don't know, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but those listeners who have been following the show for a while, you remember this guy, Meka. He is the artificially intelligent fake rapper.
Yeah.
Fake, not just fake rapper like
Social
he's a human
media.
who fakes rapping.
Yeah,
it is an
influencer.
artificially intelligent. The look, the body of this rapper is designed by computer people, and it's
CGI.
in this. Yes, CGI. Do you remember the name for this industry?
No,
It's the whole industry. It's been a while since we've covered it, but it's an industry where they figured out like, oh, celebrities don't actually need to like be even human at this point. Like we reached the point in the sort of 2010s where celebrities didn't even need a reason to be celebrities. They could just be a celebrity. Like their brand is just, I am Kim Kardashian and I am a celebrity. Right. and then it just sort of becomes true. There didn't need to be any talent or achievement or anything. Well, they took it one step further a few years back, and they're like, yeah, celebrities don't even need to be humans or sentient at all. And so there was a number of these sort of virtual celebrities that kind of caught on for a little while. And this one, the FN Meka, is this just ludicrous sort of SoundCloud rapper style robot man, which I, at the time, was incredibly uncomfortable with, not only because of the idea that, you know, society has been degraded to such a level where we don't even need humans to worship anymore. I mean, we can literally worship a CGI character created by a company. But I was very uncomfortable with the sort of racial aspects of this guy. Really, really leaning in to the SoundCloud rapper milieu, you know, crazy, colorful hair, face tattoos,
robot hand, glowy eyes.
Yeah, right. Sort of grotesque aesthetics that are kind of spooky, but like that's what's supposed to be cool about it. You know, this kind of thing. But he is as a fake robot human celebrity, he is a person of color, shall we say. And here's a little bit more from the article. Just days after announcing it had signed the computer-generated FN Meka, Capitol Music Group announced it had severed ties with the project and apologized to the black community for its insensitivity and lack of research.
Why is Capitol Music doing less research than Canary Cry News Talk?
I know! It's like a multi-million-dollar record label.
What are they doing over there? They probably get paid well, too, these recruits and all those people trying to find the next gem. Come on, this is ridiculous.
They did less research than we do on this podcast. Multi-million-dollar record label. It comes after activist group Industry Blackout shared an open letter to the label describing the augmented reality rapper. Oh, they're calling him augmented reality now. As an amalgamation of gross stereotypes and a careless abomination.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree there.
I love that characterization. A careless abomination. Posting the letter on social media, the group highlighted the use of the N-word and depictions of the rapper being beaten by a police officer. In a statement sent to SkyNews, a spokesperson for Capitol said, quote, CMG has severed ties with FN Meka Project effective immediately. Quote, we suffer our deepest... We offer probably suffer too. Yeah. We offer our deepest apologies to the black community for our insensitivity in signing this project without asking enough questions about equity and the creative process behind it. Quote, well, so the creative process behind it is the fact that it's not black people making this black CGI rapper. It's like a bunch of white guys, and I think it might be an Asian company. I think it's a Singapore company, if I remember correctly. Anyways, quote, we thank those who have reached out to us with constructive feedback in the past couple of days. Your input was invaluable as we came to the decision to end our association with the project. So there you go. Not even our augmented reality CGI celebrities are excluded from the activist targeting system, which in this case I think we can all kind of agree with. Finally, somebody is putting our augmented reality celebrities back in their place. I'm
a little more disturbed at the fact that the Capitol Music Group would even consider this, and is this a new avenue for them as one of the big mainstream sort of music kingmakers, so to speak. I don't know how much they have power anymore. As it's different now with the internet and all that.
Yeah,
but,
right.
The fact that they would even go for it, this just opens the door of like, well, FM Meka didn't work out, but Virtual David and his harp music collection, or something more conservatively appealing might be a thing.
And just so everybody kind of, if you need a review, the whole conceit behind this type of celebrity, and FN Meka was sort of a high water mark at the time in this regard a couple of years ago, is that the music is created with artificial intelligence. And
it's terrible.
Yeah, it's not great. Everything. The whole idea was that an artificially intelligent computer created the entire brand. Now, we've come to learn nowadays that like a lot of times companies can claim that, and it's not always the case to the degree that they want us to think. And it brings up this question, and this is the real question, Gons. We can all delight over the fall from grace that this careless abomination has experienced. But the very fact, like you say, the very fact that an artificially intelligent creation was getting signed to one of the biggest music labels
before just the plethora of talented artists and musicians that are out there, before
the innumerable amount of hardworking creative people who are trying to make it in the music industry, is exactly what we have been talking about when it comes to, robots, artificial intelligence, even the economics of such a thing, make it it's similar to replacing a factory worker with a robotic arm. It's cheaper, it's faster. You don't have to deal with lawsuits if the thing, doesn't get sick, it doesn't get hurt. Throw a hologram up on stage, you got a live performance, and all of these things are things we've seen. And it's the economics of the thing that really drives the transformation of society in that regard. And, it may sound obvious, but remember, you got to think about economics as a principality, as a spiritual concept. You have the spiritual principality of economics driving the I don't even know the correct word. The ignoring, the casting aside true human creativity or whatever.
It's driving the culture building. Because, if you look at this guy, he's very much pushing the boundaries of the SoundCloud rapper with the face tattoos and the glowy eyes and stuff like that.
He was a cyborg. That was the thing, too. Just, the social engineering of our rapper is part robot, etc.
Right.
Yeah. And there you go. Again, it also has a touch of the sort of racial bias of AI, which has been a big problem for Silicon Valley ever since the beginning.
How that's what got him. Yeah. It's not the complete disregard for human talent. It's
right.
This bad line in the equations that caused
this computer created a careless abomination that put the N-word in music, and which of course is not a cool thing to do if you are not explicitly a human being, first of all, but also one in the black community. Yeah. So there you go. There's your Flippy update for the day.
Russia.
Psyops. A lot of Russia. It's Wednesday today, so we're going to do Russia.
Yes.
Of course.
Canary Cry does Russia.
All right, we're going to start off. There's a bunch of stories that we outlined in the show notes and the description there. And
can't cover all of them.
Can't cover all of it, but there are various topics. I was going to subtitle this Russia's Gordian Knot. There's just this idea that it's so intertwined that it can't be undone. No, we didn't go with that because we're going to choose our topics. But the first one has to do with this lady named Dugina. How do you say it?
I think Dugina, but
let's find out.
No.
Fiery explosion just outside Moscow. Russian investigators say a car bomb killed the daughter of a spokesperson ally in a contract killing. Daria Dugina, the daughter of Alexander Dugin,
Wow, Sonic Boom.
Dugina. Wow, look at that. Somebody sent in a jingle before we even covered the story.
It's Jonathan F. Yeah, we'll be thanking him later.
Thank you, Jonathan F. That is what we're talking about. You see a story coming down the pipeline, just create a jingle for it ahead of time. That's great.
Yeah, so this is a Telegraph. Right. The headline here is Russians vow to strike Ukraine after daughter of Vladimir Putin's ally dies in car bomb. And the photos at the top are so disturbing. There's a flame with the car, so it's horrible looking. And then a guy sort of flabbergasted, his hands on his head, sort of, just disturbed at the whole thing. Here's what it says. Right. We won't read the whole thing, but Kremlin-linked officials have vowed to strike Ukraine as Russia blamed Kyiv for a car bomb attack in Moscow that killed a prominent pro-war ideologue. The first attack in the Russian capital since the start of the war. Ukrainian officials denied they had any links to the murder of Daria Dugina, but have still warned...
Dugina.
It says Dugina with an R in this.
Is there an R in there?
I don't know. Maybe there's a Western thing there. But have still warned of increased Russian attacks around Ukraine's Independence Day on August 24th. That's today, which also marks 6 months since the start of the war. That's so convenient.
Oh, yeah. It's Ukrainian Independence Day.
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, let's honor
it. Ukraine, new world order.
There you
bust
go,
out the hot dogs, go to you bust out the barbecue, the Budweiser, the fireworks, the firecrackers,
the blue and yellow streaks.
Get your AR-15s. Do they celebrate their Independence Day the same way we do?
That would be funny. That'd be funny. Yeah. Zuckerberg on a wakeboard.
Head out to the lake.
Got some ideas.
Go tubing down the river. All very insensitive things to say, considering the country is a war-torn hellscape right now. So that was an example of what an insensitive bad person would say.
Yes.
Whereas I say, you are strong and important, Ukrainians, and keep on keeping on.
Yeah. All right. Quote, we should be aware that this week Russia may try to do something particularly nasty, something particularly cruel. Such is our enemy, end quote, Vladimir Zelensky, Ukraine's president, said in his regular video address. Ukraine's Southern Military Command said it had seen several new Russian missile-carrying warships arrive in the Black Sea in the past week. The city authorities in Kharkiv, North Ukraine, also ordered a 36-hour curfew. And then there's a photo here of Daria Dugina. It is Dugina. They just misspelled it. Come on, Guardian.
Come on.
Ms. Dugina was killed as she drove back to central Moscow in a Toyota Land Cruiser from a literary and arts festival on the outskirts of the city, where her father, the prominent ultra-nationalist philosopher Alexander Dugin, had been speaking. It is likely that... let me just finish this. It is likely that Mr. Dugin, who has been called Putin's brain and has been close to the Kremlin, was the intended target. He was supposed to drive into Moscow with his daughter, but decided at the last minute to travel back in another car. A video shot immediately after the bomb had exploded showed Mr. Dugin holding his hands to his head in shock as he stares at the burning wreck. Rubble is strewn across the road. Miss Dugina was 29, had died immediately from an explosive device, which had been placed under the bottom of the car on the driver's side. I mean, that is tragic. I mean, just someone with children, this is just terrifying.
Yeah, no matter what, it's tragic to be a father and watch your daughter die in a fiery
this is
car
ridiculous.
Bomb
this is crazy. Yeah. So that's the Guardian there, and it goes on and talks about Putin's brain.
So this Putin's brain guy is pretty interesting. And we'll get more into him in a second. I want to jump over to this NPR article and kind of give the vibe from over there, because it's a little bit different. It's interesting.
They spelled Daria different, too. In this headline, it's D-A-R-I-A, and the last article, it was D-A-R-Y-A.
You know, it's interesting. It is occurring to me that they have an entirely different alphabet over there.
Oh,
so I could see, they're trying to translate it in different. There's so many layers of translation here.
Yeah, Babel really messed everything up, huh?
So as far as even trying to spell a phonetic version of a name, you got to kind of wing it.
Yeah.
All right, NPR.org, the headline, Daria Dugina's assassination could spell trouble for Putin's allies in Russia. Earlier this gives an interesting, angle, which feels a little bit more propagandistic, but there's some more details. Earlier this week in Russia, there was a televised funeral for Daria Dugina, just days after she was killed in a car bombing in Moscow. Dugina was a Russian propagandist.
Oh.
So she was a journalist,
Yeah, journalist.
I think is what we would call her. She was a Russian journalist, but NPR is saying Dugina was a Russian propagandist, which says a lot, because you might be tempted to, try to differentiate between those two things. But I think essentially what we're seeing here is the media kind of admitting that it's the same thing. Dugina was a Russian propagandist.
Yes, spitting propaganda NPR by calling her the propagandist. It's its own propaganda. Yeah.
Right. Well, it's interesting because the difference between a journalist and a propagandist is a journalist reports facts and a propagandist tries to convince you of something.
Right.
And so
which NPR
once
is
a
doing.
Journalist, which NPR routinely does, and lots of journalists routinely do.
Yeah.
And I think this is a nice, simple example of how even we, as just people who are consuming the media, can differentiate between a propagandist and a journalist. If you're getting straight facts, it's a journalist. If it seems like they're trying to sway you or convince you of something, that's a propagandist.
Yep.
Dugina was a Russian propagandist who supported her country's invasion of Ukraine, both on TV and online. Her death made global headlines, both for its violence and because of the political prominence of her father, Alexander Dugin. It also signaled, and this is a big one, it also signaled that Moscow's elite may not be safe in their own city, said Marlene Laruelle, the director of the Institute for European, Russian, and Eurasian Studies at George Washington University.
Is that a threat?
Nice. It's a CIA person.
Threat from
it kind of sounds like a threat, doesn't it?
Of an institution. Okay, all right.
Mm-hmm. Quote, the war is progressively coming to them in the Russian territory, she said. Quote, the message, the killing is sending, even if we cannot interpret exactly who did that and who the actual target was, is that if you can have a terrorist act in Moscow in the middle of the war, it means elites are suddenly not feeling secure anymore. And then it moves into, it was an interview style thing, but I think it's good for us to know who this Dugina guy is. So here's just a quick little rundown. On Alexander Dugin's origin. So this is the father of the propagandist. He was pretty famous in the 90s because he was one of the first ones in Russia to formulate a kind of political language of Russia's great power and empire. But in the 2000s, he really lost some of his prominence, and there are many other ideologies who appeared who are much more influential on the regime's kind of strategy. He has been pretty marginalized inside Russia. He's more famous abroad than in Russia itself. He has had very anti-Ukrainian ideology since the beginning, which is some of his most famous work in the mid-90s. He was saying that Ukraine doesn't exist as a state, as a nation, that it's a construction of the West as a kind of anti-Russian strategy. And that's something that was not so common at that time. But after that, he really has been working on many other countries, creating a big geopolitical vision for Russia as an empire, and he has always been very anti-Ukrainian, to the point that Ukraine has forbidden him from entering Ukrainian territory already for about 15 years. In the mid-2000s, he was already persona non grata in Ukraine. So this guy, pretty famous guy, apparently. He's an academic, he's a philosopher, but you can almost think of him like a Salman Rushdie or a Noam Chomsky, although Noam had some actual political power at one point. But, he's a thinker. He's a philosopher. He's a this, he's a that type of thing. Now, in Russia, as we know, not even just in Russia, around the world, these philosophers, political thinkers, people like this, they're often wrapped up in the same sort of shenanigans that the actual politicians are, as far as corruption, things like this. So, it's interesting. We just had the Salman Rushdie attack where he was stabbed on stage, attacked for a book he wrote in 1988 or something. Yeah. And you can kind of think of this Dugin fella as the same type of archetype. I'm not comparing them per se, but I'm just saying he's that's what he is. He's one of these inflammatory authors or whatever. And so we saw the Salman Rushdie stabbing, and now we see this car bomb that took out his daughter. Now, does the skeptic in me wonder if this is also a Putin job? Was this designed as justification for further retaliation on the Ukraine? I mean, the whole...
That's what I'm saying. That's a Gordian knot. There's multiple narratives.
I know.
Any story coming out about Russia.
We're both coming back from an art show. I'm just going to randomly go in a different car. No, you stay in that car. I will go in this car. It's the sort of dark, villainous sort of plot that you can, you could write in a movie about how the villain sacrifices his own child for the furthering of blah, 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 blah. But it's just, I was probably more stimulated by this story intellectually, as far as the propaganda and how this, the stories about how the war is going are interesting. And I read plenty of those as far as like the battlefield stuff. But when it comes to why a war is happening and what keeps war happening, it's not so much the battlefield stuff. It's this narrative building stuff. So I thought it was pretty fascinating.
Yeah, it goes on to kind of equate Dugin's popularity with contemporary far-right thinking and how he pushed for a new empire of conservative values against the so-called decadent West and liberal culture and whatnot. So your typical...
Which is a big part of how Putin is presented to us.
Yes.
Is as sort of like a far-right traditionalist type of guy. So I thought it was interesting there saying he's like, oh, this Dugin fella, he's not that influential anymore. But it's like, okay, but apparently what he did in the 90s.
He's exactly like all the right-wing Republicans in America.
Right.
It's like, okay.
Yeah. So what do you think? Anything?
Nothing much else. I mean, we could speculate on all the different angles, but I don't think that's necessarily fruitful. I think we've covered what we need to on this because it truly is sort of the propaganda and how, for example, NPR would call Daria Dugina a propagandist and things of that nature. So peddling its own propaganda. So,
just real quick, the ending of this NPR article goes like this. I think her death will be used by the conservative reactionary groups to kind of create a martyr out of her.
Of course.
She was a young, good-looking woman. So that will help create the myth of her martyrdom. Again, we're talking about the modern myth creation. Yeah. This is how you control people. I think her death will be used globally, not only by the conservative circles, but also by the regime for some kind of domestic repression. Yeah, terrorism does that. Another hint that maybe it is some sort of Russian plot. I don't know. But, you think about governments using terrorism as an excuse for oppression. Much like some other very familiar governments in our lives. You have NPR saying, they're going to use this to take away our freedoms. The regime will have to showcase that it can answer to a terrorist act, and that will probably mean higher repression. Yes, indeed. Now, here's the reason why I think NPR called her a propagandist and not a journalist. Because if it was a journalist killed in a terrorist attack, hello, Jamal Khashoggi and the Israeli woman, or Palestinian reporter who got killed in a little thing. Over and over and over, journalists getting killed is used as like pro-freedom, anti-war, anti-government, etc., talking point, propaganda, if you will. But you have this woman, a journalist, being killed by terrorists on the streets of Moscow. If you call her a journalist, you have to protect her. You have to defend her.
Right. They don't want to do that. They want to smear her as far right.
They don't want to be trapped in their little box that they created, by the way.
Yeah.
The media created their own little prison where if a journalist gets killed, it has to be, made into some anti-war message.
A martyr.
Exactly, a martyr.
Yeah.
And so, they call her a propagandist so they don't have to defend a Russian because God forbid you defend a Russian journalist.
Yeah.
So they call her a propagandist, which, is very similar to the strategy that they've used for really any right-leaning conservative journalist in America as well.
Yeah. We're going to touch real quick on the North Korea issue here that is related to Russia.
North Korea is kind of a bench warmer.
Yeah. The Guardian.com had this story here. Donetsk self-proclaimed leader pledges bilateral cooperation with North Korea. This is a few days old. Oh no, I have the paywall. North Korea and Russian-occupied Donetsk region of Ukraine will develop equally beneficial bilateral cooperation, its self-appointed leader has said in a letter to Kim Jong-un, according to state media. I'm losing it. It's starting to fade. Denis Pushilin made the pledge in a message congratulating Kim on the 15 August Korean Liberation Day. North Korean state news agency KCNA reported 2 days after reporting a similar message from Russian President Vladimir Putin to Kim.
I don't have a paywall if you want me to continue.
I don't know how much there. I mean, it's really. I don't know. If you want to continue, you can. I don't know that there's a huge takeaway other than for the West, for us, because this is the Guardian, this sort of lumping all of the bad guys together, the villains, so to speak. Vladimir Putin getting in there with North Korea.
I think it's interesting that it's also North Korean Independence Day, somewhere around here. That's pretty crazy. Was it today?
August 15th. So, yeah.
August 15th.
So, okay.
So, 10 days ago or something. Now, is this just simply North Korea saying, good job, guys, keep it going? Or are they offering some sort of support?
Yeah, I don't know. I have not seen all the details, to be 100% honest. So if you want to go through
It's
the
a
article.
Message. Yeah. I am just doing a quick browse here.
Because, there is a difference between, hey,
here it is.
Here's a note, and hey, we'll back you up.
So here it is. Last month, Russia's ambassador in Pyongyang, Alexander Matsagora, said North Korean labor could be sent to help rebuild the war-shattered infrastructure in the self-proclaimed People's Republics in Donetsk and Luhansk. So those are the Russian-occupied territories. And they're trying to get North Korean labor to come rebuild it, which is terrifying because North Korean labor... Let's just say they're not necessarily unionized. These are basically North Korean slaves who will be going to rebuild parts of Ukraine. Matsagora said there were potentially a lot of opportunities for economic cooperation between the North, I think Korea, and the self-proclaimed republics in Ukraine's Donbass region, despite UN sanctions. He told the Russian newspaper Izvestia in an interview, according to the Seoul-based website NK News, that, quote, highly qualified and hardworking Korean builders, who are capable of working in the most difficult conditions, under threat of violence,
death,
could help us restore our social infrastructure and industrial facilities. North Korea has traditionally earned much needed foreign currency by sending its citizens to work overseas. And it goes on about some UN sanctions specifically on this practice because they are basically slaves. Okay. Well, admittedly, North Korea does not have a lot to offer
They can make some pretty awesome propaganda videos.
That is true. They do have the coolest propaganda videos. That's what they should do.
Yeah.
Get those North Koreans making. Did you know? I did not know this until recently. Kim Jong-un is a huge film buff.
Oh, he's a big West. He's just a fan of the West, like Western culture.
He's written
basketball. He loves film.
He's written his own books, multiple books on film and theater, and like how to make a good movie. He's got a lot of time, man. He's got a lot of time. Yeah. So that's why his propaganda videos are so good.
Yeah.
Because he like takes personal pride in creating dope propaganda videos about how awesome his country is. Yeah. All right, that's just a little fun detail for you. Okay, there you go. North Korean slave labor going to rebuild Ukraine.
Yay.
Great.
A couple more things from Russia.
Mind-controlled weapons.
This was fun. This is from thesun.co.uk. No, thesun.com. Inside Russia's deadly toy box as Putin shows off his weapons, including tanks, missiles, and super soldier... Oh, why is the headline cut off here? Bert.
Super soldier Bert.
Yeah.
Brain tests.
Brain tests. Yeah. That's the mind control stuff. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, you got your text only thing going, don't you?
Yeah, it's okay. But
does that mean you're not going to have the photo?
I went in because we need to have the photo. And I love just the innuendos. I apologize ahead of time. I'm just reading the article. The Russian dictator, 69, boasted that his soldiers' equipment was decades ahead of the West at the country's annual arms convention on the outskirts of Moscow.
Outskirts. Now, following that sentence is probably one of the greatest things about Russia is that they are not sort of in the same position as the West, where putting long-legged, red lipsticked models on tanks and taking pictures of them for promotional photos is not frowned upon like it would be in America. Can you imagine, like Raytheon or Halliburton rolling out their new missile?
They would have a better. They wouldn't have as much pushback if they did that. You know, people would be stoked about it. Like, hey, Raytheon,
the activists, they would never allow it. It is seriously a throwback to some other time in history where they have this big tank. They're showing off this big Russian tank, and they've got 4 Russian models like sitting on it in high heels and short skirts. It is the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah,
Russia.
She's got an Apple Watch, you know. So
she's got an Apple Watch, bright red lipstick. It is really, it's so foreign to us now that it really caught me off guard.
Yeah, there's some more photos.
Then the next pictures are like tanks blowing things up and explosions and guys with cybernetic headsets on. It's just this one picture at the very it's like the magazine cover for this article.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going. Anyways, this whole thing is they're just showing off their toys, right?
Yeah, a bunch of stuff, and it talks a little bit about the mind control stuff there. They got a robot. They talk about the robot. Putin has previously claimed genetically modified super soldiers who are incapable of feeling pain or fear could soon become a reality. A 4-legged robot dog was also shown off, seen trotting along the floor, wielding a rocket-propelled grenade launcher on its back. Wait a minute. Wasn't that from that convention that wasn't... Anyway.
What?
The 4-legged robot dog with a rocket-propelled grenade launcher on its back? This is a different one from the one that they debunked?
No, it's the same one.
Okay,
it's the same festival here.
Okay, yeah. The robot dressed up in a ninja-like outfit. Oh yeah, okay. So this is like before the debunk.
They should have had a model with the rocket launcher dog like on a leash, you know.
Yeah, get what's her name, the Hilton gal there to walk around with a leash on that robot dog.
Paris Hilton.
Paris Hilton.
Put the robot dog in a purse.
Yes.
Have it poking out of a purse, and
Yes.
Paris Hilton carrying it around.
At the opening of the convention on Monday, Putin vowed to arm allies with the, quote, most modern weapons and bragged that Russia's military might is many years, if not decades, ahead of his Western rivals. And that's kind of the theme here, is very similar to the
same
alleged,
quote from the other one.
Yeah, same alleged, Trump thing. We're so far ahead, we're way ahead. Which is
You're right. Trump was bragging about that recently.
Right, like the whole the nuclear weapons thing. But it's an interesting propaganda piece, if you will, because in contrast, there's this story from Fortune where the headline here is, quote, it's a quote and then it's got the rest. We realized that there's no way we can return. Russia's best and brightest are leaving the country in record numbers. 6 young Russians explain why they left. And we won't read it because
the brain drain.
It's
the brain drain.
Yeah, brain drain taking place. And we won't read it because it's very anecdotal. It's got the
young
people and
just stories about grad students and stuff.
It is really interesting how there's a chart here where they're going, and it says here that 24.9% are going to Turkey. And then another 23%.
A NATO country.
A NATO country. And then 23% to Georgia, 19% to other, 15% to Armenia. Then it goes, kind of smaller numbers to Israel, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan.
It's interesting specifically because Turkey being a NATO country, that's a little bit of a slap in the face of Putin there. But Georgia, interestingly enough, it ties in with the Dugin story, that Alexander Dugin fellow in his political writings advocated for Russia to invade Georgia.
That's right. So, as part of his deal. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of like another, if you believe that this Dugin guy is as influential as they want us to think, Georgia would be next on the list. And indeed, there was some kerfuffle in Georgia, I believe, in the early 2000s, if I remember correctly.
Mid 2000s?
I'd have to look
it was
something.
It was definitely on the radar with just all
Georgia
the tensions.
Conflict. I was pretty young at the time.
Yeah. Let's see. There's one more thing. Oh, this is kind of like a modern version of Project Paperclip. There's a war, and then we just recruit all the youngest and brightest, to build our occult rocketry system out in America, with NASA. All that originated with the Project Paperclip, so maybe something similar taking place here, despite the fact that Russia is decades ahead with their super soldiers and tanks and missiles and
that is a funny juxtaposition, and models. The 2008 Russo-Georgian War was a war between Georgia on one side and Russia and the Russian-backed self-proclaimed republics of South Ossetia and Abkhazia on the other. So very similar setup. It sounds like these self-proclaimed republics, kind of like Donetsk and Luhansk in Ukraine, it's like the exact same strategy. Putin used the exact same strategy in the Russo-Georgian War. Took place in August, following a period of worsening relations between Russia and Georgia, both formerly constituent republics of the Soviet Union. The fighting took place in the strategically important South Caucasus region. That's where all the Caucasians are from.
The origin of the Caucasian.
It is regarded as the first European war of the 21st century.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of just like a carbon copy of what we're seeing now. Interesting. Okay, well, there you go.
Yep. We're not going to talk about, there's a bunch of violence taking place in Crimea. Some warnings about stuff exploding.
The Ukrainian offensive. Yes.
Yeah.
We'll cover the Ukrainian offensive probably next week. We'll see if something happens. The long story short, for weeks Ukraine has been hinting at this offensive that they're going to take back some territory from Russia.
The U.S. approved it. The U.S. is like,
U.S. approved it.
Do it.
But nothing's really happened except for some mysterious explosions.
Yeah, and Russian Navy headquartered in Crimea blows up. And also $3 billion $3 billion more for the Forever War, the new Forever War that you and I are sending over there, Basil, the tax-paying American.
Taxpayer dollars. Yep. Not only are we going to be paying for student loans, but also a war in Ukraine forever.
Yeah, a little foreshadowing there.
I think it's party time.
Yep. Go to canarycry.party in our URL.
Party time.
Canarycry.party is a website with a tree of links that leads to everything from where to listen to the show, watch the show, produce the show, how to connect with us and the community.
Welcome to Canary Cry Party. It's the place you wanna be. So say, welcome to Canary Cry. Gameplay, Canary Cry Party.
That's right. And there's all sorts of stuff there at canarycry.party. You can find all the links to our streaming locations. You can find links to other podcasts like Ravel, which is a podcast I do with Dr. Christopher Ryan Gates. He's a PhD in biblical interpretation. We explore scripture, society, and scandal, having tough conversations in good faith. I also want to just put it out there for all the Ravel people. There are times where I'm simply steel manning an opposite argument and not necessarily endorsing the argument. So if you want to hear me sometimes defend things that people don't like defended, that's a good place. It's a good place to get that. But go check it out. We just posted our 50th episode.
Wow,
and
congrats.
Thank you. We did it on Pentecost because 50, you know.
Yeah.
And so we talk most specifically a lot about the gift of tongues and what that means to different Christians and our personal experiences with that, and get into a little debate about that. Not a boring or mean debate, a fun debate. So if you have any strong feelings about speaking in tongues, that would probably be a very interesting episode for you to listen to. But you can listen to it right there on canarycry.party or all your podcast players. You can also just follow the Canary Cry Clips channel. Canary Cry Clips is our YouTube and Odyssey channels, where this show is segmented out into shareable, careable, bite-sized pieces. You can review sections of the show or share them. It's up to you, but do something. Go follow Canary Cry Clips. You can also, for some reason I cannot find, oh, there it is. Text the word canary to 877-740-3226 to get our text message alerts. A lot of times people aren't getting the YouTube alerts or the Twitch alerts, obviously, or whatever. So if you want to make sure to never miss a show, text the word canary to 877-740-3226. Some people have said that they're not getting the text messages, and I don't know exactly why. I did run into a situation where if you ever texted back stop to stop the text messages, it sends you a little thing that says if you want to get them again, type unstop. Well, typing unstop doesn't work. You won't start getting the messages if you typed unstop. You have to text canary again, and then it will sign you up.
Okay.
So I don't know exactly the problems people are having. There's just been one or two people have mentioned that. I would maybe recommend just signing up again, see if it works. Just text Canary to 877-740-3226. But people keep signing up, man. People love the text messages. So go do that. That is it.
Very good. Mm-hmm. You want to talk about the supply drop real quick?
Oh, yes. Yes, I do. There is exactly...
Supply drop.
CanaryCrySupplyDrop.com. Go check it out. CanaryCrySupplyDrop.com is where you can sign up to support the show for $33.33 a month. You do that because you want to be a producer of the show and you want the show to keep going and you believe in the value for value model. You appreciate the lack of corporate money and the lack of corporate interest in the message that we bring on this show. And putting value back in and with your time, your talent, or your treasure is the only way we can keep going. But if you sign up for $33.33 a month, and remember to hit that monthly donation button, you will start receiving free gifts throughout the year, one per quarter to be exact. And the Q3, the third quarter supply drop, is about to get sent out You've got 1 week left to sign up. You got to sign up before September 1st, not on September 1st, before September 1st. So I should probably say August 31st is your last day to sign up for the supply drop. And I highly recommend you do. It's been a slow supply drop sign up period here. Not a whole lot of people signing up, which is interesting because we are giving away free promo gifts from previous supply drops. So if you missed previous supply drops, you can get the Tweet Hungry Boy apron, the Canary Cry Challenge coin. We've got a number of things from previous drops that we are giving for free for new people who are signing up. And all you got to do is go to canarycrysupply.com in the next 7 days. Don't let the calendar turn to September before signing up. And remember, this next supply drop includes the NWO Fantasy League can koozie. We've got the Canary Cry, Canary Cry mixtape. That's what it is. The Canary Cry mixtape, Volume 1, printed professionally on cassette tape. A true collector's item. I'm very excited to receive mine. And the art for that was done by Sir Darren. We've also got the Sir Dove Knight of Resbeltia Bible art book. I believe it's a hardcover coffee table book of a bunch of Sir Dove's artwork, Bible artwork that we show on the show at least once a week. It's just going to be an awesome supply drop. It's our most valuable supply drop yet. And this is a result of new people signing up for the supply drop. Not only are you supporting this show, it's the only way that we can keep going. Not only are you supporting this show, but you, by signing up to the supply drop, you are making it possible for us to put more and more valuable things into the supply drop. So you get value, we get value, and other supply droppers get even more value for you signing up. And you get even more value because we'll send you a free extra gift as well if you sign up before the 1st. So go do that. Head on over to canarycrysupply.com. Okay, there we go. We have... We had one more executive producer come in during the show, Gons.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That means I have to prompt the executive
Wanna
producers. Oh, go.
Yeah.
Come back.
Executive producers.
Yeah, the execs. You know the deal. They keep the show going. They carry a heavy burden. We love them very much. And we've got a new executive producer Anonymous.
Anonymous.
Yeah. Want to keep it all nice and anonymous here. Executive producer Anonymous came in for $154.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. And specifically, this was labeled to go towards the Burning Man research project. So thank you very much, producer Anonymous, for specifically giving to that project. It's a big part of what we've been doing for many years.
Yep. Thank you, Anonymous.
Where'd you find this?
Okay, we got a few more producers to thank. We're going to do that now. You ready?
Yep.
First of all, we have a new supply drop producer. They upgraded, and this is even better. They were a calendar producer from last year, and the calendar producers got grandfathered in to the supply drop producership, but they upgraded from the calendar producership to the supply drop just because.
That's nice.
They didn't need to, but they did. And that they is a she, and that's Dame Sarah the Shadows.
Dame Sarah, thank you so much.
Yeah,
we appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
That's very generous of you.
Just for nothing, just supporting the show. We appreciate it. Okay, next up, we have Chad the Chad came in.
Chad the Chad.
Yeah, he's back, baby. Chad the Chad comes in for $77.77. Ooh. Yeah. And had a note here. In support of your effort to bring the gospel to Burning Man. Yay! I'm going to be able to eat something besides peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, Gons. Thanks to Chad the Chad.
77.77 might get you, like a roasted cricket or something out there in Burning Man.
Yeah,
I hear
my
it's expensive.
cricket slurry. Well, you can't spend money out there. You got to bring your own food, which makes it that much more dangerous.
Oh, they got their closed circular economy thing.
Yeah, no money out there. Right. You got to trade for it. Thanks for reaching out to people that others ignore. We'll be praying for y'all. Booyah. Thank you very much, Chad the Chad. And I will say, Chad the Chad, it's not just the financial aspect of producership that really warms our hearts, although it warms our bodies, keeps our lights on, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But just the very message that you are supporting what we're doing feels good, because after that sad email, I'm not going to lie, I was feeling a little down for a couple hours.
Yeah.
Feeling a little sad, feeling misunderstood.
Yeah. It's
after
interesting.
That email.
It's interesting too, because you went back and looked at all of the stuff we've published on it, and I was reading through some of the descriptions and everything, and it's almost like we anticipated some of that, because we try to explain very clearly what's taking place in our approach. But it is what it is. Yeah.
Okay. That's
Thank you, Chad
value
the Chad.
for value, baby. Thank you, Chad the Chad. Next up, we got producer Morv on a 131 episode streak.
Oh, yeah! Thank you so much.
11.
Comes in for 1111, says happy WMD.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Thanks, Morv. Next up, we have Sir JC out of the Techno Squatch, 139 episodes in a row.
Fast thing on 2 feet. 1001. Amen.
Yep, coming in with the 1001, says it's WMD.
It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday.
And it's my birthday.
Happy birthday to
Man.
Happy birthday, Sir JC, Night of the Techno Squatch.
Time flies. It seems like we were just celebrating JC's birthday. They grow up so fast. He says, it's my birthday yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Well, happy birthday anyway.
Yeah.
One more year before I hit the big 3-0.
Ooh, yep, that 30
one
hill.
of our youngsters. Love it. Thank you, Sir JC, Night of the Techno Squatch.
Appreciate it.
Next up, we've got Sir LX Protocol V2, Night of the Berean Protocol, 69 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Sir LX Protocol V2, Night of the Berean Protocol.
Pocket full of sevens. Note says it's Wednesday, my dude.
It is Wednesday, my dudes. It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Bong, bong, bing, bong. Next up, we've got producer Dominic R.
Thank you, Dominic.
It's a pocket full of sevens and a note. Hey, guys, haven't donated in a while, so I think I deserve a second demooching. Love it. Says, I have to say, since I last donated, I was able to obtain my CDL, commercial's driver's license, and I'm currently trucking. So let me hear that trucking jingle.
This is Robert Ducky. What's your 1020? Over. Trucking. We got us a convoy. Over.
Thank you for all you do. God bless. Thank you very much, Dominic R.
Thank you, Dominic. Appreciate it.
Yeah, last but not least, we've got producer Laura C.
Thank you, Laura C.
Is Laura C. damed? I forget. Let's check and see if Laura C. is damed. Laura C. comes in with a pocket full of sevens and fees, and her note says, Burning Man! All cops. All caps. There are cops out at Burning Man, by the way. So great that you're going back, Basil. Keep up the awesome work and stay safe. Thank you very much, Laura C.
I don't see Laura C. on the list, but yes.
I imagine crazy things sometimes. All right. That concludes our list of financial producers who came in the amount of $7.77 or more, which entitles them to have a note read on the show. We got a few more to thank in our next break, but until then, thank you for your patronage.
Yeah.
Shut up and take my money.
Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your patronage.
Yes, it's wake-up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
And what are we doing? We're doing politics. Yay.
Politics.
Our fun politics stuff. Where's my politic? What happened? Ah, here we go.
Poly. It's Latin for many. Tick. Now suck your blood. Now suck
Politics.
your blood.
I'm gonna kick it off with some Pelosi. And we had that Nancy jingle. I thought somebody sent in a Pelosi jingle. I just couldn't find it. So if there is one, let us know if you already sent one. But
I forget too. I couldn't find it.
Yeah. Well, this is just a quick update here. This is from APnews.com, and the headline: Paul Pelosi gets 5 days in jail, 3 years of probation in DUI.
Interesting. 5 days in jail, which is probably time served. 3 years of probation, DUI. This is the interesting part. We don't really know his history. But
didn't
let's
he kill
see
someone, or not kill someone? Didn't he get in a car accident?
So that's been kind of the so the husband of U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi pleaded guilty Tuesday to misdemeanor driving under the influence, charges related to a May crash in California's wine country, and was sentenced to 5 days in jail and 3 years of probation. Paul Pelosi already served 2 days in jail and received good conduct credit for 2 other days. Okay. Napa County Superior Court Judge Joseph Solga said Paul Pelosi will work 8 hours in the court's work program in lieu of the remaining day.
Please.
Drunk driving accident. He has to work 8 hours of community service. Solga said during Paul Pelosi's sentencing, which he did not attend. State law allows for DUI misdemeanor defendants to appear through their attorney unless ordered otherwise by the court. As part of this probation, Paul Pelosi will also be required to attend a 3-month drinking driver class and install an ignition interlock device. Where the driver has to provide a breath sample before the engine will start. He will also have to pay about $5,000 in victim restitution for medical bills and lost wages, and nearly $2,000 in fines. That doesn't seem like very much. $5,000 for the car crash?
Yeah, just sell off some of those shares that he's got in the stock market to pay that thing off. Easy.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
This isn't even a slap on the wrist. This is like a flick of the ear cartilage.
So from what I can recall of California DUI laws, this would be a pretty normal judgment for a first-time offender, except for if you actually get in a crash and send somebody to the hospital, it's like significantly worse. It like automatically upgrades it to like manslaughter charges or something. So the 3 years probation must be for that. The fact of the matter is the man shouldn't be driving anyways. He's rich as sin, and he's old, and he's in wine country. You should have a driver, okay? You should have a driver.
Yeah, you can afford a driver there, buddy. Paulie.
Yeah,
get a driver.
Yeah. Anyways, just a fun little update on.
We'll hear from we'll hear from Nancy, your wife, in a few minutes here.
Your wife.
But
we do have a story about Marjorie Taylor Greene, and we don't have a Marjorie Taylor Greene. She appears in the Christian Nationalist.
Yeah, we'll play it here.
So you see, I also call myself a Christian nationalist, and that's not a bad word.
Okay, that's not a bad word. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene says she was swatted at her home, reported on FoxNews.com. She done got swatted, Gons. Let's see what they have to say about this. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, a Republican from Georgia, says she was swatted at her home at 1 a.m. on Wednesday. Greene made the announcement on Twitter and thanked law enforcement for handling the situation professionally. The term swatting refers to the illegal practice of making false police reports in an attempt to get law enforcement to raid the home of an innocent person. Quote, last night I was swatted just after 1 a.m. Greene wrote on Wednesday morning, quote, I can't express enough gratitude to my local law enforcement here in Rome, Floyd County. More details to come, she added.
She lives in Rome, huh?
Yeah. Yep. I have no retort for that. Yeah. Greene has yet to, when in Rome. Okay, there we go. Greene has yet to elaborate further on what happened. The Floyd County Police Department did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Reports say an unknown individual called 911 and falsely reported that a man had been shot multiple times in a bathtub at Greene's home. The Rome Police Department dispatched 5 officers who were informed they were going to Greene's house while in transit, according to CNBC. Greene responded when they knocked on the door and assured them everything was safe in the house. Police reportedly conducted a brief search of the home and found nothing amiss. So there you go.
No dead body in the bathtub? Man, she cleans up fast.
No dead body in the bathtub. The caller then made a second, always return to the scene of the crime, Gons. The caller then made a second voice-masked call to the police department stating that they made a false report in reaction to Greene's stance on the transgender movement, according to the outlet. Greene is a particular divisive member of the Republican Party and has had to apologize multiple times for making outlandish claims. It's an interesting thing to add.
Ironic.
So, yeah, right.
Outlandish claim.
Talk about outlandish claims. Yeah, so I thought this was interesting. It was based, let's say this. There are so many reasons for someone to want to cause trouble for Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Well, any politician, really, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but let's just talk about her. You know, like there's the transgender thing. There's
Jewish
the
space lasers.
Jewish space laser thing. There's the Stop the Steal thing. I mean, she's pretty much like the mascot for why people don't like Republicans or a certain,
brand of Christians.
Sure. Oh, sure. Christians, part of it too. Christian nationalism thing. Yeah, the whole thing. There's so many reasons for somebody to want to make trouble for this woman. And it was specifically based on her stance on the transgender movement. And this is interesting. The fact that it was the stance on the transgender movement, it's not reported.
Policy, it's not a
right. It's not reported as even something she said, or a policy, or a bill, or a blog post. I don't know. I don't really follow MTG that well, but it was simply the stance on the movement, which I thought was an interesting sort of specificity.
Are you suggesting that this was some kind of intelligence operation to try to stir a certain...
No.
Okay.
No, I genuinely think this is just an angry person.
An angry
the stance on the movement is interesting because even secretly, I will tell you this, I've had conversations with Democrats, not maybe radicals or leftists or something, but Democrat people, Democrat boomers specifically. I've had conversations with Democrat boomers who specifically don't really agree with the transgender movement. They don't have a problem with transgender people, the idea of transgenderism, but the movement, including, policing people's speech, pronoun stuff, pronoun crimes, thought crimes, stuff like that. So even Biden voting Democrats don't have the stance on the transgender movement that more of like a radical progressive leftist type person might have.
Yeah, I just found this article from CNN that might inform us. CNN Politics. This is from February 25th, 2021. So several months ago, over a year ago, year and a half. Marjorie Taylor Greene posts anti-transgender sign across hall from lawmaker with transgender child.
Okay, but what does anti-transgender sign mean? Do they show the sign?
Yes. The sign says there are two genders, male and female, quote unquote, trust the science.
That's not even a transgender thing. That's more of a queer movement thing.
It's anti-transgender, according to CNN.
That's not even definitionally correct.
Well,
okay. Well, I mean, if there's two genders, that doesn't exclude the idea that somebody can switch them. It's the non-gender or the queer gender or the binary, whatever, non-binary stuff.
I don't think that's as important. I think we have a suspect. It's Illinois Representative Mary Newman. She just waited a year and a half for things to settle down, and she on a drunken evening. She's like, I'm going to show her. And they made a phone call and swatted MTG.
Right. She had her nightly, Xanax and glass of wine and doesn't even remember calling the police.
And then she had to, she came to her senses, and then she had to call the
voice mask.
She had to call some SoundCloud rapper to change her voice to make the phone call.
That is a funny part of it. Yeah. The first time they called 911. The second time they just called the police department.
Which means she was...
It's reported.
Or this person knew kind of what was going on. Interesting.
This person... but it's not reported that they used the voice masking on the 911 call.
Yeah.
They used the voice masking on the second call, which kind of defeats the purpose of using the voice masking at all. Like, hi, there's somebody who Margie Taylor Greene shot some guy in her bathtub. You should go get her. Okay, thanks, bye. Call back.
Hello, let's play a game. I'm the one who called earlier, but I masked my voice, so...
The visual of seeing a googly-eyed man do a saw voice.
Yeah. Jigsaw voice.
Yeah, jigsaw.
Anyways, not the smartest way to do it. Okay.
The criminal may not be as intelligent as we were hoping, but
all right, let's talk about big news. Big news over there in Harry Lee's world.
Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs.
Armageddon's on the way.
Why don't you bring us this first one here?
Okay, this is the Wall Street Journal. And the people who have student loans, I bring good news. Biden to announce student loan forgiveness plan. Yay!
Yay!
President Biden is expected to announce Wednesday that he will cancel some federal student loan debt for tens of millions of Americans through a long-awaited executive action, which would provide unprecedented relief for borrowers, but is certain to draw political and legal challenges.
No kidding.
The action would be...
And he could have done it a year ago when he said he would, but he waited until right before the midterms. Wow. Pretty convenient.
The action would be the culmination of more than a year of debate within the Biden. See, they were debating within the administration.
Within their own administration. They're not even debating with Republicans. They're debating within their own little group.
Biden is also expected to extend the pandemic pause on student loan payments likely through the end of the year. Loan payments were set to resume for millions of borrowers after August 31st. During months of internal deliberations, many in the White House have coalesced around a plan to forgive around $10,000 of student debt for borrowers who make under $125,000 a year, or around double that for married couples, which includes the vast majority of the 40 million people with student debt. The action could render up to 15 million borrowers whose balances are under $10,000 entirely free of student debt. And then the other detail here, does it even say it in this one? I thought there was a $20,000 one for the Penn.
Yeah, it's for the Penn what are they called?
Or whatever.
Yeah. What is it called?
What is it called? I'm totally blanking on it too.
Yeah, I forget. I texted
Pen pals? Pen pal people.
The pen pal grant. Yeah.
Pal
yeah,
grant.
whatever. It's
Pal
a different
grant.
kind
Pal
of.
Grant.
Yeah, pal grant.
Same thing. Pal grant. $20,000 for people making less than $125,000. So okay, all right. Well,
different federal loan program.
I'm glad Joe's doing something, but keeping his promise. Yeah. Although we got this clip from Pelosi. Should we play it now, or do you want to do it after?
Okay. I'm glad you have it. Yeah. So this was sort of regarding the fact that he's doing this by executive order. Okay. This is just an executive order from the president, probably his first one that actually does anything. But he promised to do this during his election, and he waffled back and forth after he got elected. People thought he was just going to do it. He signed like 60 executive orders on day one or whatever, and this one was not included. And this was part of the reason everybody is mad at him. You know, he's making promises, not keeping those promises. Surprise, surprise. And to defend him not doing that, Nancy Pelosi, a year ago, came out and said this.
People think that the President of the United States, is this more on the subject than you ever want to know? Well, you'll let me know. People think that the President of the United States has the power for debt forgiveness. He does not. He can postpone, he can delay, but he does not have that power. That has to be an act of Congress.
Okay, so he doesn't have the power. So which one is it?
So there you go. Who are we to believe? Do we believe Nancy that he does not have the power? Now, of course, she was saying this back when it benefited him to not be signing it. Or does he have the power the whole time and Nancy was lying about it? We'll just literally never know, probably. But if he suddenly does have the power, or if he still does not have the power, but is sort of signaling, it's like a virtue signal. I'll sign it. I'll tell everybody I'm going to forgive him. I'll sign the paper. I'll get the photo op. Everybody will be all stoked right before the midterms. And we'll wait for the Republicans to fight it in court, which will make them look bad. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm thinking this is a trap for the midterms. Because first of all, if the president doesn't have the power, Trump did this stuff all the time, and he got lambasted for this all the time. Democrats yelling at him for overstepping his power as the president. He's tyrannical. He's this. He's that. He doesn't have the power. Blah 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 blah. But when Biden does it to save everybody $10,000, not everybody, by the way, which is the contentious part. Suddenly, nobody cares whether he does or doesn't have the power to do it. But I think it's a trap, similar to the Roe v. Wade overturning, similar to, a lot of things, some very well executed traps by the Democrats this election season. I think that's what this is. He's going to sign it. And I don't think it's not going to take effect because Republicans will challenge it. No Democrat's going to challenge it. Republicans will challenge it, and suddenly people will be at the ballot box being like, hey, wait a second. Biden tried to take away my debts, and Republicans fought him on it. I'm going to vote for AOC or something.
Interesting. Is that their avatar, their main target?
Yeah. But Bill, you live in Texas. You can't vote for AOC. Well, I saw her on the TV, and I like the way she dresses. I'm voting for AOC. So there you go. I think it's simple as that. Like, I'm not even tripping too hard on this.
Sure.
I think it's as simple as that. Now, the interesting part about this,
the Reuters article?
Find it. Well, no, let me go to the very end of the article we were just reading. Mr. Biden's moves to cancel debt, quote, would not only be unfair to those who already repaid their loans or decided to pursue alternative education paths, but it would be wildly inflationary at a time of already historic inflation, Mr. Romney said. That's what Mitt Romney said. Economists say that a tailored debt cancellation plan is unlikely to exacerbate short-term inflationary pressures, but could add to them in the long term, especially if universities continue to raise tuition because students may expect their loans to eventually be canceled. I think that's a very real problem. We already know that the for-profit university system has raised tuition costs to some astronomical percentage of what they used to be.
Corrupt.
Simply for exactly corrupt reasons. Even some economists, back to the article, this is great. Even some economists, usually aligned with the White House, including former Clinton administration Treasury Secretary Larry Summers and former Obama administration economist Jason Furman, have criticized the cost of a potential student debt cancellation.
You know what this is? That whole delay? It was Obama arguing with Joe. You know, Joe's going to, I think we cancel it. Obama went,
sure.
No, Joe, I think it's a bad idea, Joe.
It's a bad idea, Joe. Let's see here. Have criticized the cost of a potential student debt cancellation and warned that it could force future spending cuts or tax increases. So they're saying, literally, it seems like everything Biden does is very short-sighted. You know, every single thing. Very good. Everything he does is very short-sighted. He's not worried about the future, and you know why he's not worried about the future? Because he's not running again. And if he does run, he's not winning again. So he doesn't care about what happens in the future.
It's kind of the issue.
And he might not even be alive to be blamed.
That's what I'm saying.
For
it's kind of the issue with putting a really old guy in charge. You know,
5-year-olds. Yeah,
it just doesn't have the same trajectory plan, you know.
So it ends with this. A budgeting model from the Wharton School of University of Pennsylvania estimated this week that forgiving $10,000 in federal student loan debt with income caps would cost around $300 billion over a 10-year period. Okay, so you have Clinton administration Treasury Secretary Larry Summers and Obama administration economist Jason Furman both saying that this will cause inflation in the future. Maybe not right now, but in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's jump over to Reuters real quick, because this was really fun. Reuters has a headline that says, student debt relief package could lead to deflation, U.S. official says. Okay, so you got Clinton and Obama both saying it's going to inflation. But this U.S. official says it could lead to deflation.
Not just inflation, wildly inflationary, an already historic inflation. But
yes, exactly.
No, this is going to bring deflation.
We've got a dissenting opinion here. Are you ready to read this article? And I'm going to read the article in its entirety.
Okay.
So buckle up, everyone. A plan unveiled by the Biden administration to forgive $10,000 in federal student debt and defer payments through year end could have a neutral impact on consumer prices or even be deflationary, a senior administration official said on Wednesday. That's today.
Who said that?
A senior administration official.
Okay, do we have a name?
So a secret source.
It's probably Joe.
This is supposed to be good news, right? It's not even like leaking a secret. It's not giving a bad impression that will make the president look bad. This is good news that they are not naming the source. They're saying it's a senior administration official. Look, there's not that many senior administration officials. It may actually be Joe Biden himself.
That's what I think it is. It's Joe saying.
Let me continue.
Deflationary. Come on.
Let me continue the article.
Okay.
Speaking on a call previewing President Joe Biden's remarks about the program, officials also said the program could benefit 43 million student loan borrowers.
Could.
That is the end of the article.
What?
It is 2 sentences
Wait a
long.
minute. How do we have 4 people reporting this? Reported by, and they're listing 4 people for a 2-sentence This is 2 sentences. Yeah, this is a 2-sentence article.
2 sentences with an unnamed source on Good News reported by 4 journalists. Alexandra Alper, Nandita Bose, Kanishka Singh, and David Lauder, the dream team. They had to assemble the Avengers.
The Reuters quartet. The
Reuters
Fantastic
quartet.
Four of the Reuters
Dream team. To write literally 2 sentences with an unnamed source that completely, with no explanation, goes against the Clinton and Obama administration, friendly economists to Joe Biden's plan, say it's going to be opposite of this 2-sentence article. They should have just tweeted it. Why is it even an article? It's a tweet. Hold on, I'm going to see if this would fit in a tweet.
Probably a couple. Well, obviously, there'll be a 2 or 3 tweet thread, is my guess. But
I'm gonna go. I don't think it'd be that much. Let me see.
No, I think so.
I'm pasting it.
Oh, you know what? You're right. It might be. It might be one.
I think it would fit in a single tweet.
Well, you can cut corners and use emojis or something to try to.
Okay. Yeah, it would have to be 2 tweets.
2 tweets. That's what I was thinking.
Just barely 2 tweets. And it's just hilarious. I mean, they got the information from the president's administration.
This is probably Joe texting these people.
It's probably Joe himself, or there's only a handful of people it could be.
Yeah,
and they just got the news. They're reading the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah.
They're seeing that Obama and Clinton, some undying allies, disagree and think he's going to destroy the economy even further than he has. And then he gets 4 reporters on a call to write 2 sentences in Reuters. It is just, honestly, the most crushing reality about our mainstream legacy, by the way. This is Reuters. This isn't some hokey pokey, mainstream outlet. This is Reuters. 2 sentences, 4 authors, unnamed source against, the 50 paragraphs that Wall Street Journal reported. Anyways, there you go. This is why I love my job, because it gives me heart palpitations reading this sort of thing.
Boy, it's really a productive segment, man.
I mean, come on. Give me a break.
It's time for a break.
You want to start off with the speak pipe real quick?
Sure, you got one?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Please leave a message after the tone.
At the tone, please record your message.
Leave a message. Beep.
Message.
Head on over to canarycrynewstalk.com and you'll see a green tab on the bottom or the right-hand side. Click on that tab and another button will appear. Incredible. And you can leave us a voice message. You're giving us permission to play that voice message, but it's not guaranteed.
We got one from Wandering Spirit Michael. Nice, short, sweet question here.
Hey guys, out of all the streaming services like YouTube, Twitch, DLive, and Rumble, do you have a preference for which one I should use out of all of them, if you had to pick one?
Yeah. Streaming. So if we're going live, right now, at this exact moment, the best way to do it would be DLive, because the DLive app sends notifications, and the DLive chat gets integrated into the on-screen chat.
Right.
So those things are good. YouTube doesn't get the whole show. Twitch is suspended. Rumble, the chat doesn't get into the show just because they don't have it. We don't have the option.
Neither
so right
does
now,
Odyssey.
Neither does Odyssey. Yeah, so right now, DLive is kind of the best place. That is the answer. I will say we have so many things going on, so many irons in the fire. But one of our projects we're working on right now with a wonderful producer is building our own streaming on our own website.
Yeah.
So you won't need to rely on one of the platforms. We'll be hopefully soon be doing all our own streaming, everything right on the website, and it'll at least be an option. Not that we would leave the platforms necessarily, but it would be a consistent, hopefully reliable option, and one that has quality as part of the way to describe it. And then even more so, although we do need some more producer help on this, we would love to have our own app. There's lots of options for doing our own app where just everything would be right there in the app. We'd want to do that very badly. It's just a big project, and we need producer help on that. So if anybody knows anybody who could help us with that, let us know. But yes, DLive, as of now, is the best option for the streaming, the live show.
Is there a way to do video streaming in Discord?
Let me... that's a good question. That's a side I don't know. I think so. We've talked about that. I think we might be able to stream directly to our Discord channel.
Okay. We'll figure all that out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Here's the problem with DLive, and this is why it's so hurtful that we get suspended from so many places. DLive does not save.
Yeah, they don't archive the stream afterwards.
They don't archive the streams.
Yeah.
Or they do, but they only keep it for 2 days.
Right.
So if you go on to dlive.tv/Canary Cry News Talk right now, you can watch the show live. Your chat can get on the show. But there's only, because we do a show every 2 days, there's only the last episode, the one previous episode that you can watch after the fact. We signed up for their whatever official person service or whatever. I forget what it's called.
Yeah.
But our application never got addressed, which is too bad.
We're getting stonewalled by the alt platforms.
We're being stonewalled on DLive too, which is supposed to be, it's super fancy, whatever.
Decentralized live.
Yeah. So anyways, we're having lots of trouble. But yeah, so DLive, if you want to be there, watch the live show. Oof, the problem is without Twitch, I don't know if you can watch any full shows in the past.
Rumble.
Yeah. Thank you. Rumble has all the shows in the past. There you go.
Sometimes we mess up and
short question, long answer.
Yeah, sometimes we mess up and don't get all the Rumble stuff on there, but we do our best to get it all there. So yeah, and
so this is why we want to bring it all in house. We want to do our own app, so it's just all right there. You don't have to worry about platform stuff like that.
Right.
So, thank you very much for the question.
Thank you. We got some more people to thank under the $7.77 cutoff, which lets you read a note, or lets us read notes from you. How do I word that?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just if you come in over 777, you are entitled to a note.
Entitled, that's the word I was looking for. Yeah. Okay.
Under 777, no notes. So we're just going to thank some people here real quick. Starting with Sir Darren, Night of the Hungry Panda, on a 36 episode streak.
36 episodes.
You know what? And Darren is on the wrong list. I apologize, Darren. Darren came in for $8.99.
Oh, okay.
So he's not supposed to be in this group. That was a mishap. Sorry, Sir Darren. Sir Darren does have a note, though. WMD. It's Wednesday.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Sir Darren says, I hope Basil takes lots of sunscreen to Burning Man. Well, now that I got your $8.99, Darren, I can get some sunscreen. Yay. And just says no to any strangers offering, anything, really. LOL. Hope you have a great day.
That's some good
Thank you, Darren.
Programming,
Darren.
Yeah, some dare
war
propaganda,
on
mind
drugs.
control stuff. Yeah.
Just say no.
Just say no.
You know what? I will say, with my previous experiences at Burning Man, everybody's very cool about that, actually. You definitely get offered all sorts of things, but everybody's very respectful of sobriety there, which was surprising. But yes, everybody's very respectful of sobriety, and so you can
if
just
anyone understands the struggle, it must be people at Burning Man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everybody understands. So thank you very much, Darren.
Thank
Yes,
you, Darren.
and I've been working on my no. I do not want your drugs, you naked hippie. But have you heard the good news?
Jesus?
Of Jesus.
And no
Also,
trades. Don't do any bartering of that either. You know, that would
Can
be
you
good.
point me in
I'll
the
do
direction?
it, Jesus, if you do this little Post-it note.
Can you point me in the direction of any of Klaus Schwab's tent, please? I have a few questions for him.
That's what you should do, Walker. Have you seen Klaus?
Where's Klaus's tent? I'm looking for my friend Klaus.
Where's Elon? Just have signs.
Klaus, where are you,
elite.
Klaus? I've been looking for you. I was convinced I was going to run into Elon last time.
Yeah, I remember.
Because it was a big thing. I never ran into him.
But he was probably in some elite tent.
Yeah.
Highly air conditioned, all that, you know.
Well, this go around,
maybe
I'll run into Elon. We'll see. All right. I forgot we're actually doing a job here. Yeah. Thank you, Sir Darren, Night of the Hungry Panda. Next up, we got Sir Scott, Night of Truth, 186 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Sir Scott.
Next up, we got Veronica D, 162.
Women rule.
Thank you, Veronica D.
Gail M, 162.
Women rule.
Thank you, Gail M.
Rung Smash, 23.
Episodes in a row. Thank you, Rung Smash.
Sir Casey the Shield Knight, 197.
Thank you, Sir Casey the Shield Knight. That 200 or 201 coming up is right around the corner.
So close to event 201.
Yeah.
That concludes our list of financial producers who come in at all to support the show. Thank you guys very, very much. Couldn't do without you. And remember, everybody, if you want to support the show, you can head on over to canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support. Yes,
That's
it's
right.
wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Time for some
Climate change.
Climate change.
Since the beginning of time, man has yearned to destroy the sun. I will do the next best thing. Block it out.
Climate change. Climate change. Mass extinction.
This one comes from Breitbart.com, which is on that list, the Harvard list. I always check now because if you have like kind of on the edge type of, and Breitbart's pretty big, so it's not, I'm not saying that they don't deserve to be there, but yeah, definitely on the list. 109, about 4.6 million viewers per month. It's still pretty large, but yeah, it's got all the stuff there. No clear funding, donor structure details revealed. Owned by CEO Larry Soloff, along with founder Andrew Breitbart's widow, Susie Breitbart, and the Mercers. The Mercers have a hand in there.
Mercers.
A family of Republican mega donors. Remember the Mercers? You don't remember the Mercers?
I don't remember the Mercers.
The Far-Right Nationalist was the website that White House chief strategist Steve Bannon ran until he joined the Trump campaign. Mercers reportedly invested $10 million in Breitbart when it was a relatively unknown website. So there you go. That's Breitbart. But they have this headline here. France to recruit 3,000 green police over climate change.
Green police?
France.
Is that racist?
I don't know, maybe. Gerald Darmanin, who serves as France's Minister of the Interior, has announced that he aims to create 3,000 posts for new green police officials, a move that he has deemed necessary in the face to tackle climate change. News of the potential creation of these new posts in France follows calls from European Union bigwigs for the creation of a bloc-wide civil protection force to fight the effects of climate change under the control of Brussels. Move slammed by some as an attempt by Eurocrats to hoard even more power. In an interview with Le Journal du Dimanche, I am horrible at the French accent, Darmanin justified the creation of 3,000 new posts specifically aimed at green-related criminal issues by citing the effects climate change was having on France, especially in regard to forest fires, 9 out of 10 of which have allegedly been caused by human activity, and also could be prevented probably by doing some...
That's an interesting... Are they saying the forest fires were caused by human activity? Or was there more stuff
is saying it, but they're saying that this French guy is, talking about the effects of climate change and, forest fires. So we need the green police. Quote, faced with this, we must improve the work of judicial investigation, the journal reports the politician is saying, quote, we have therefore decided to massively reinforce the resources of the central office for the fight against damage to the environment and to launch 3,000 green police posts, he continued. The objective is that in each gendarmerie brigade, there are what the heck is this word? Gendarmes.
I mean, it's French.
Gendarmes trained in attacks on ecology. It will be a revolution, Darmanin added. The French minister's
It'll be a revolution hiring 3,000 cops?
Yeah, climate cops.
This is a weird thing to say for a French guy.
The French minister's
It'll be a revolution. Don't worry. You remember the French Revolution, right? When that's when we had a whole bunch of police officers. We hired a bunch of police, and that's what the French Revolution was. Okay, It wasn't had nothing to do with
fake news.
Heads on sticks.
I hear that's fake news after a bright flash that I saw the other day. The French minister's plan to bring 3,000 new green police comes as officials in Europe look to expanding their own resources, ostensibly to fight the effects of climate change. In particular, one Eurocrat last week.
In this case, literally fight the effects of climate change, which is apparently people, and which is an interesting way to put it. It's a revolution. We're fighting the effects of climate change. And the headline picture, is a bunch of French police officers with gigantic rifles with bayonets affixed to the ends of it.
Yeah, hold on. I'm trying to get to
having armed
Here we go.
Eco-police is kind of like having armed IRS agents.
Yeah, it seems like the militaries around the world are just arming because, they're
not even the militaries. Non-military
that's what I mean. Yeah.
Law enforcement. Yeah.
Right. I don't know that we need to.
They're militarizing. They're militarizing bureaucracy, is what they're doing.
Yeah,
that's what they do with the IRS. They don't need a machine gun and 5 million rounds of ammo. Same with this. You basically have regulators. They're basically like eco-regulators, or what they should be is eco-regulators, but they're giving them guns and calling them eco-police. They're going to come stab your. Well, I was going to say. They would come stab your pickup truck or something, but I don't think they have pickup trucks in France.
Maybe. This is a quote here that I was looking for. They're all
Subaru Bajas.
It's true. Quote, we have a growing sense that more Europe is needed in civil protection. Crisis Management Chief Janez Lenarčič declared regarding the proposal, with the technocrat seemingly arguing that Brussels would be able to provide this quote-unquote protection if handed more sovereign power over its member states. However, such a suggestion has been denounced by critics, with one MEP saying that, quote, unelected bureaucrats in the organization, quote, are using an excuse to grab more power. Which, it's pretty obvious here. Again, because it's all out in the open, I feel like both sides are becoming more bold, and that's part of the divide.
Well, and that guy's going to get called a racist or something.
Yeah, racist or
going to get canceled.
Yeah, Russian or something. Yeah.
Looks like there's a decent amount of pushback, though. Here's a quote. These European bureaucrats are not the solution, but the cause of many problems that the EU is facing. And the deeply damaging energy crisis is just proof of that, said Cristian Terhes, a member of the European Parliament for Romania. Oh, is that woman? There's that. Oh no, that was Christina Andrews or something. There's another woman in European Parliament who was fighting against vaccine passports.
Yeah, I was going to say she was pushing back against the vax stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds like some of these Euro people are pretty awakened.
France in particular during the whole COVID stuff was. Yeah, they were kind of, at least some politicians were pushing back pretty.
Yeah, well, the people definitely pushed back.
Yeah.
Quote, handing to these irresponsible and unaccountable bureaucrats is even more power would just simply be irresponsible, he continued.
You know what?
That's a great way to put it. Yeah, this is just irresponsible.
Yeah, Breitbart changed the headline here. This wasn't in the headline before, but they're leading the headline now with Great Reset. I wonder why they did that. That's probably from the clicks.
Yeah. But here's an interesting one. Quote, what Europe needs is a rebirth of national and sovereign democracy with creativity and power for local people rather than one-size-fits-all bureaucratic control from the center of Brussels. So the same sort of pushback against the EU that they've been getting for a while.
Yeah, they're nationalist Putins. These people that want national sovereign democracy.
Right.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
These Republican Putins.
Tale as old as time. It's the globalists against the nationalists.
Yeah.
Well, it is Breitbart, so they do a great job of framing things that way.
Yeah.
Along the same lines, dailymail.com.co.uk headline, how the Germans deal with the eco mob.
Oh, wow.
Riot
I changed
police.
this one, too.
Really?
Yeah.
Let me read mine. I want to hear yours. How Germans deal with the eco mob! Exclamation point. Riot police crack down on green protesters trying to bring Hamburg to a standstill by using batons, pepper spray, and water cannon.
Well, that's pretty typical Daily Mail long headline. This one I have is German riot police crack down on eco protesters trying to bring Hamburg to a standstill.
Interesting. Also interesting, that term eco-mob is pretty common here. German police employed batons, pepper spray, and water cannons against a group of eco-zealots on Saturday as they staged a sit-down protest on major railway supply line in Hamburg. Dozens of protesters, led by the eco-mob Ende Gelände, which translates to here and no further, attempts to disrupt the major northern city by blockading the Katwijk railway bridge, which leads to the nearby harbor. Ahead of their action, Extinction Rebellion, who were also involved, said, quote, we are blocking a central hub of German foreign trade, here to draw attention to the consequences of modern colonialism. The sit-down on the bridge was one of a series of blockades involving more than 1,000 people at different locations, designed to interrupt cargo traffic in protest against, quote, the expansion of fossil fuel infrastructure and colonial supply chains. The protesters' main gripe, and it goes into the things, specifically the liquid natural gas terminals, which are set to cover the German coast. LNG can be extracted, blah, blah, blah. It has to do with the war in Russia and the sanctions.
Mm-hmm.
According to police, some of the eco-warriors on the bridge used pepper spray. Oh, the eco-warriors used pepper spray on officers when they tried to move them along, sparking clashes. Police said they used pepper spray back. Oh, you don't pepper spray me, I pepper spray you, before employing batons and water cannons to break up the blockade. The activists said in an update at 5 p.m. local time that the authorities were blocking drinking water from being delivered to the protesters, while also keeping out members of the press and medics, adding that parliamentary observers are on site. Ominous. The police's tough stance and the stark contrast, blah, blah, blah. You get it. So, Extinction Rebellion at it again, getting the pepper spray, getting the batons. You know what? You got to give it to these kids, man. They are not afraid to get knocked on the head with a police baton.
Yeah, and in terms of the eco mob or eco warrior, and they're trying to with their whole message there. The contrast between sort of the masculine police officers in their gear here with these,
the pictures you're talking about.
Yeah, the photos of these guys in beanies, and they got their white. I guess it's like a lab coat type of thing with masks.
I mean, seriously, if I was an Extinction Rebellion person, I would be promoting just working out, just everybody, men, women,
push-ups. Everyone do push-ups.
Look, we're trying to do like a militant thing here. We need to get fit. We need to work out. We need to get some muscles. We need to beef up. If for nothing else, that it'll be harder for the cops to pick you up and carry you away.
Yeah.
There's a picture here of literally a cop picking up a kid, an Extinction Rebellion guy. I guess there's a couple of cops, and he's curled up into a little ball. It's the most pitiful thing I've ever seen. I'm sorry.
Pepper spray.
I'm sorry. This is not a good look for your militant eco movement. He's like literally playing dead. Like he curled into a little ball. He's in the fetal position, holding his knees with his arms as if that's going to do anything. And the cops just walk up to him, pick him up like a briefcase, and just walk away.
A lady cop, too, on one side.
You got a lady cop.
Yeah.
Lady cop. She's looking pretty buff, though, too.
Yeah, she looks pretty strong. So not a good look. And I don't know what's up with the like tattoo markings on their foreheads, but that doesn't go well.
Is that what
either.
it is? I was trying to figure out what that
like
is. I thought
markings.
it was just like sweaty hair or something.
Yeah, maybe.
But you're right. You're right. A lot of them have it. Let's see if I can zoom in.
Yeah,
can you zoom in?
Kind of. I mean, I'm already pretty.
Yeah, they
in.
like wrote something on their foreheads or something.
Yeah, it's probably XR. XR for Extinction Rebellion, which, by the way, went to their website, and they got their whole thing, a pretty snazzy, colorful website. They have a Find Your Group section. It's like their own meetups.
Oh, they got a meetup section.
Yeah, and guess what? There's one in Antarctica. I don't know who's meeting in Antarctica, but there's an XR meetup in Antarctica, and it's funny because the map shows Antarctica with the little pinball there with the XR logo. But the thing I noticed, Basil, is they have like these pieces of I don't know, little icons or little art pieces. There's one where there's like a pair of eyes, kind of like a vector, and then there's
they're doing their different versions of their logo, kind of.
Yeah, and then they have a logo with a bird on it.
Bird.
It looks like a canary. I don't know, man.
That would make sense.
I think they're ripping off the whole Canary Cry thing.
They're doing it. There's, hey, Canary in a coal mine, that's our thing.
Yeah.
Nobody else can have it.
Yeah, and which, by the way, let me just mention real quick that I don't know if we talked about this, but the RMI, which is the Rocky Mountain Institute, a year ago, this is back in April of 2021, I have this here, just as a side note. RMI launches Canary Media, independent energy journalism powered by former Green Tech Media staff and David Roberts.
We're just ahead of our time, Gons. We always have been.
Listen to this. In addition, RMI is excited to announce David Roberts, formerly of Grist and Vox, will join the editor-at-large, bringing his inclusive columns and podcasts to Canary Media readers.
The invasion. They're going to start taking our SEO. I mean, that's the same invasion we've seen for a while, and we've documented the mainstream media people leaving the mainstream to start independent media, infiltrating the independent media landscape, and guiding it in that direction.
It gets worse. Like you go to the Extinction. Oh wait, hold on. What happened to the thing? You go to the Canary.co, which is their website, and they have a whole article from May about the Extinction Rebellion. And they got pictures and all kinds of stuff. And then you go to their About section. And I'm kind of reading through here, just kind of taking a look. And it has their vision, a free and fair society where we nurture people and planet. The mission to achieve this, we deliver campaigning journalism that informs and empowers people to change their world. Their values, the Canary is progressive, open, and rigorous. We work with respect, courage, and generosity. And then it said, what is the Canary? It's a nonprofit, independent, yada, 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 with absolutely no financial backing or outside investments.
What?
We have rapidly built a brand new media outlet from scratch through determination in our progressive values, a vibrant team, and engaging content. And then it says in 2 months leading up to the 2017 general election, I don't know how they just said in 2021 they're announcing it, but for some reason they were around in 2017. The Canary was read by over 8.7 million people. And then it says, we remain completely independent of any advertisers, funders, companies, political organizations, or political parties.
They're taking our literal whole thing.
Our whole thing. It's the progressive version of us.
That is so whack.
Let me just continue. We produce high quality, well-researched, and inclusive journalism that holds power to account. Our content focuses on news, ideas, and key developments that impact democracy, equality, freedom, and fairness. Today, a handful of powerful moguls controls our mainstream media. And as such, its coverage is largely conservative. But we...
What?
Yeah, are you kidding me? But we have created a truly independent and viable alternative, one that isn't afraid.
What kind of psyop is this whole thing? This whole thing is just a psyop on my brain. It's like they copied and pasted our whole thing and just changed the words to backwards.
As such, its coverage is largely conservative, but we have created a truly independent and viable alternative, one that isn't afraid to challenge the status quo, to ask the hard questions, and to have an opinion. This has only been possible because of the amazing support from you, our readers.
At least they didn't call them producers.
I know, that was the one thing I was like, okay.
I was waiting. I was going to lose my gourd.
How can I trust what I read in the Canary? It goes on here. I mean, it's in-depth reporting, media bias fact check. Oh, well, this is funny too. In 2019, the Canary became one of the first UK media outlets to be awarded a green trust mark for news credibility and transparency from monitoring and rating site NewsGuard. You can read their in-depth reports on us by installing the NewsGuard extension, then navigating back to our site. Media Bias Fact Check has also reviewed our website. It states that, quote, we rate the Canary left, biased based on story selection that typically favors the left, and high for factual reporting due to proper sourcing and a clean fact-checked record.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So
that is crazy. That is next level.
Yeah, they got a code of practice.
I'm not even mad about Adam Carolla anymore.
This is a straight rip. Where does the money come from and where does it go? In August 2019, Canary became primarily a reader-supported media platform. Okay. Mm-hmm. So what's the other?
Primarily. So yeah, where's the other ones?
The remainder of our income comes from online advertising.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah, look at that. They can't even fund theirs without advertising.
Yeah, they pay their writers hourly, and they
what it probably was?
Yeah.
They probably were doing the value for value thing,
and then we're like, do it.
They're like, oh my gosh, this is not a lot of money.
Not gonna
work. To do advertising.
We need to pay these 13 hard-hitting journalists. And we need to give him holidays and sick day pays and pensions.
Right. We have actual employees we need to pay. That's the secret. You gotta not have any employees, and you gotta have producers. You gotta have people who make the show because of the value they receive. That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
They couldn't do it. They couldn't quite make it to the revolutionary, the true radical format that is the value for value model.
Yeah. So,
and I love how they say they don't take corporate money, except from advertisers. Hello, you take a bunch of corporate money.
Well, no. Well, see, we only advertise white labeled male enhancement products or something.
Yeah, what the heck? We don't take
stuff
corporate
from China.
money.
We only advertise stuff from Alibaba.
Yeah, right. I'm trying to think of how you could advertise with that. Well, we only advertise LLCs is what they would have to do to not take corporate money but still advertise. That is so whack.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Wow. I'm speechless.
Encourage all the producers out there.
I'm speechless. Jeez Louise. What does it never end? Why does this have to be our life, Gons?
I don't know.
All right. Well, I got something equally as egregious here to share with you.
Oh,
The Guardian, theguardian.com, just a quick one. Headline: Wind turbine blades could be recycled into gummy bears, scientists say.
It must be true.
Forget the bugs, Guns, forget the soy, forget the algae based food products. We're straight up moving to wind turbine based food products.
Wait, but I thought wind turbine was helping the whole economy or the
No.
Clean energy.
This has been the secret the whole time. You make the wind turbines to get off fossil fuels, and then when the wind turbine is old and dies of natural causes, you can recycle the wind turbine into a food product. That way we don't need to grow any food, we don't need any cows, we don't need any lima beans. We just live the new food pyramid, the new food cycle, the ecosystem of the earth goes wind turbine gets made into gummy bears. People eat gummy bear. People die from eating wind turbine gummy bear. Take people, put them in machine, turn people into wind turbine. Yeah,
it's the Ouroboros.
It's the circle of life. Okay. The next generation of wind turbine blades could be recycled into gummy bears at the end of their service.
This is the Guardian, by the way, so not a crazy
scientists
outlet.
Have said. Researchers at Michigan State University have made a composite resin for the blades by combining. This is what your gummy bears are going to be made of.
Good.
Researchers at Michigan State University have made a composite resin for the blades by combining glass fibers.
Oh, good.
With a plant-derived polymer and a synthetic one.
Oh.
Once the blades have reached the end of their lifespan, the materials can be broken down and recycled to make new products, including turbine blades and chewy sweets. Wind power is one of the most dominant forms of renewable energy. However, turbine blades, usually made of fiberglass, can be as long as a half a football field and cause problems with disposal, with many discarded in landfills when they reach the end of their cycle. To combat the waste, researchers designed a new form of resin. Digesting the resin in an alkaline solution produces potassium lactate, which can be purified and made into sweets and sports drinks. Lunarade. Quote, we recovered food-grade potassium lactate and used it to make gummy bear candies, which I ate, said John Dorgan, formerly living human, now some sort of Cronenbergian monster that eats wind turbine blades as candy, one of the authors of the paper. The alkaline digestion also releases polymethyl methacrylate. Oh, we get meth out of it. Or PMMA, a common acrylic material used in windows and car tail lights.
Oh, boy.
Wonderful. On eating gummy bears that are derived from a wind turbine, Dorgan says, translated to, quote, a carbon atom derived from a plant like corn or grass is no different from a carbon atom that came from a fossil fuel. It's all part of the global carbon cycle. And we've and back to foodstuffs, he added. Quote, the beauty of our resin system is that at the end of its use cycle, we can dissolve it and that releases it from whatever matrix it's in so that it can be used over and over again in an infinite loop. That's the goal of circular economy. Soylent Green is people, Gons. Soylent Green is people, and the gummy bears are wind turbines.
Yeah, this sounds like some kind of obscure, question looking at the renewable energy stuff and like, well, they're made out of fiberglass. So what can we do? And then they did a study. But I'm looking at this healthfully.com here, and it's telling me that if you have asthma or bronchitis, you got to wear a mask because you don't want to inhale any kind of fiber, especially fiberglass,
Where are you saying this?
I'm just at healthfully.com. It's just some health thing.
You just looked up fiberglass.
Yeah, just what happens when you inhale fiberglass.
Glass fibers, yeah.
Glass
I like how at
fiber.
the beginning of the article, they call it glass fibers. Mm-hmm. And then at the end, they're like, oh, it's fiberglass.
Healthy individual.
They didn't want to...
They gave up on
they gave up trying to tell us that we weren't eating fiberglass gummy bears.
Healthy individuals who inhale the fibers may experience effects such as soreness in the nose and throat, and if swallowed, stomach irritation can occur. Little is known about the effects of small fibers, but it is believed that if they get into the lungs and small intestines, adverse side effects such as intestinal blockage may occur. And if you do inhale or ingest it, go see a doctor. And it says, don't induce vomiting or take laxatives. Don't.
Oh, don't do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Keep it in there. Don't get it out.
Stay die.
Yeah. So there you go, Gons. It's a brave new world. And gummy bears are now made of wind turbines, apparently. This
doesn't feel real. Like we are doing a show. Today's episode, absurdity is just on.
There's so much absurdity.
Full blast.
It's they're very creative though. They're very creative, but they're not the only ones because we've got some very creative producers, Guns. Let's thank them.
This is break. Don't just consume the content, but
become the content. Become the content.
Yes, become the content. Help build the culture behind the community here at Canary Cry News Talk with your God-given talent. All we ask is that whatever you do is made for the show. We're going to start things off with some audio production.
Audio production.
And our first... What?
Nothing.
Okay. We're going to kick it off with Jonathan F.
Jonathan F.
And here's a note, just a little jingle, since I haven't been able to participate in becoming the content lately due to daily responsibilities. The news is getting crazier and crazier every day, but thankfully we have Christ in our corner. Enjoy and God bless. And you already heard the jingle, but here it is again. Dugina blow up.
Fiery explosion just outside Moscow. Russian investigators say a car bomb killed the daughter of a close ally in a contract killing. Daria Dugina, the daughter of Alexander Dugin, who's free, died in a blast, who's free.
Sonic boom. Wow. Thank you very much, Jonathan F. Appreciate
that was very fun.
Yeah,
I loved it. Yeah.
And just the timing was perfect because we covered it today. And so, maybe that's the Lord's timing there. Thank you very much, Jonathan F. We're moving on to Davey Frost, who has a note here. Hey, guys, apparently I didn't realize you were asking for a social media jingle to thank producers. The one I sent previously doesn't really fit the bill, in my opinion. Here's a better one that says thank you.
Social media consultant.
Thanks so much.
Not bad.
I love it. That's fun. Love it.
Might work. Thank you very much, Davey Frost. I could check if there's more, but I'm not going to because we are a little bit behind today. But there you go. That's all the audio production. Thank you very much to Jonathan F. and Davey Frost for submitting your audio talents.
Indubitably.
Yes. Let's move on to some art.
One art, please.
We shall begin with Dame Allie of the Skillet Nation.
One art, please. Another one from Allie now. Here it is.
And this one, I mean, I was creeped out just by looking into the email when they send the email there. But it's accompanied by a haiku, so we shall read it now. Florida Man, a Dame Ebony Blaze haiku. Charlie Christ, or Christ, I think it's Christ. Charlie Christ takes on Governor Ron DeSantis. COVID mishandler. Christ's niece has COVID. 54,000 are dead. Lives are at stake, man. No jab, mask mandates. For a better tomorrow, we need more control.
Indeed. Yeah, and you know this guy's a lizard. He's got the lizard eyes, and he just kind of looks like a lizard. This is a guy who just generally looks like a lizard. His eyeballs are humongous, which makes it easy to see what lies beneath. Very, very well done here, Dame Allie. Again, the specificity, the granularity of the lighting changes upon the face are becoming closer and closer to indistinguishable from perfection. He's this fella. He's got he just kind of looks like a scary little lizard man. Yeah. I mean, he's got very pointy nose, humongous eyeballs. You know, I mean, if you didn't know any better, you might think that, hey, he's just a friendly neighborhood lizard man. Thank you very much. Your friendly neighborhood lizard man. Thank you very much, Dame Allie.
Thank you, Dame Allie.
Ebony Blaze.
And Ebony Blaze, yeah. And it had to do with this article from Newsweek that it was titled, Charlie Crist wants to bring Florida a better tomorrow and challenge to Ron DeSantis. So thank you very much. Let us move on to Sir Dove, Knight of Raspeltia.
One art piece from Dove.
And he has a note. Peace. For today's artwork, I did a flyer for the monthly Garland, Texas meetup that's coming up this Saturday. I'll send one without this month's specifics for the 42s to fill in for the next meetup, or I can add more bootleg cowboy font each month. Either way, hope you guys like it. Keep doing what you do, and I'll keep praying for yins.
Yeah, indeed. And it's a beautiful flyer. Indeed it is. I'm looking at it now. You got a canary, googly-eyed canary man down in the dirt, and he's got the derpy eyes. He's looking real rootin' tootin' with a 10-gallon hat. Yeah, he's got a rootin' tootin' cowboy hat that's like 4 feet tall. It's hilarious. With a sort of buckle on the front of the hat that has the Canary Cry seal on it. We've got the rope border, kind of very Western looking rope border. We've got bullet holes. It's kind of formatted a little bit like a wanted poster type of thing. Canary Cry Garland, Texas, monthly meetup at the Household of Faith, and does the whole thing. Don't forget, folks, August 27th, 7 to 10 p.m. over there in Garland, Texas. Make it to the meetup. They do this monthly, and as a wonderful service, Sir Dove also sent one because they have guest speakers apparently at this meetup. This month's guest speaker is Ellis Wright, talking about wrestling with theodicy. And Sir Dove sent a version that Adam42 or whoever's in charge of doing it can put in a new guest speaker every time. So it's like a template.
Yeah.
I think it might be a good resource if we made a number of meetup templates that people could just put their own information in.
Yeah.
That's something to think about.
Yeah, especially ones that are already going and you got multiple meetups, and it's perfect.
Yeah. Well, and we have, just as a moment, I'll mention it again, but we have a Indiana meetup, I believe, in the works. Or was it Indiana? Who sent in that meetup?
I forget. That's why I messaged you today and I said, hey, can you handle the meetup stuff today?
Who is it? Well, we were waiting for a flyer from them. I'm sorry. I will deal with this later. This is not the time.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Oh, here it is. Merrillville, IN. I'm assuming that's Indiana, right? Merrillville, Indiana, November 5th.
November 5th. Okay.
45 minutes outside of Chicago.
Chicago, Illinois, maybe?
Illinois.
Wait, what was it? What was it? IN?
Okay. I've reached, IN.
Is that Illinois? I don't know. I'm maybe it is Illinois.
No, that can't. Is it Illinois? There is an N in Illinois, but it seems pretty crazy that Indiana wouldn't be IN. But I didn't know you could get out of the state from Chicago in 45 minutes, though. Anyways, this is all for another section of the show. So I am going to star this. Thank you, Lady B, Jennifer J. Beasy 89. Got it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Let's keep moving.
All right. So thank you, Sir Dub.
Thank you, Sir Dub.
And we're going to move on here to Sir Darren, Knight of the Hungry Panda. And he has a note. Happy Wednesday. Here's some art I made for the show. I was inspired by hearing about Burning Man and their theme of waking dreams. Hope you like it. That's the first one. We got another one from him that I'll mention in a second. But let's do this first one. Sir
Darren, thank you. You have been bringing so much joy to us, specifically with this one, because you make us look so cool. Gons, you and I look so cool in Darren's artwork. This is like a movie poster style, says Basil Rosewater, Gon Shimura at the top. In the background, you've got like a glowing Burning Man. Yeah. You've got you there wearing some cool shades and your hair looking all Asian and cool. And there I am, which is a pretty good rendition.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
Of the actual me. I'd say something about the mouth doesn't quite read Basil, but the rest is pretty dang close. I'm wearing some cool shades. You can see my googly eye headset reflected in my shades there, and it says, "It's wake up time. Canary Cry News Talk." In a very cool 80s kind of vaporwave style there. And of course, at the bottom of the movie poster, we've got Canary Cry Radio Presents, in association with Canary Cry News Talk, a Body of Christ production, a Basil and Gons podcast, directed by God, produced by Canarians, a Value for Value podcast, with technical support by Gon Shimura, monologue by Basil Rosewater, art and jingles by the producers of Canary Cry News Talk. That's you guys. In partnership with Rattle a Few Cages, illustrated by Darren S.
Images
provided by the interwebs from the creators of the Joyspiracy Theory podcast and the YouTube channel Face Like the Sun Resurrection. Then there's a legal disclaimer, which I cannot quite read.
CCR, CCNT is in no way affiliated, associated, authorized, endorsed by, or in any way officially connected with the Bilderberg Group, Council on Foreign Relations, United Nations Economic and Social Council, George Soros, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, or other non-governmental organizations.
Those are all very important things.
Any of their subsidiaries or affiliates. You know what? Nice. We should just lift that and put that on everything.
We should just copy and paste that onto every show notes.
Yeah.
CCR top rated.
The contents of this podcast has been rated 5 stars.
Oh, yes, that's
by
true.
The Value for Value model. Runtime 3 hours, 33 minutes, and 33 seconds. And you got canarycrynewstalk.com.
Yeah,
and on the
beautiful.
other side, you got Ezekiel 3, verses 17 through 19 with all the social media.
He also had
icons.
a PS here. He says for Basil and Gons, but I kind of like the idea. He wanted to, well, more or less, he was looking for a way for this art to help produce some of the Burning Man stuff. I don't know, maybe posters or something. I don't know. We can figure it out. I mean, it is a very cool poster. I definitely want one for myself. If nothing else, we can print it out, put it in a supply drop or something.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Sir Darren, Knight of the
Hungry Panda. And he wasn't done. He did send a GIF. He says, I've been trying to work on some GIF art for the show. This was a quick proof of concept and a way for me to relearn After Effects.
Ah, good old After Effects, the most tedious of Adobe products.
Yeah. And he has the same logo with that kind of 80s look.
We got a GIF.
We
got another GIF. We love these GIFs, Darren. It's the Canary Cry News Talk logo and kind of the vaporwave 80s type of thing. It's got like a old arcade cabinet game style graphics with a sort of video gamey grid, like we're flying down the Tron grid or something.
Right.
Very cool. Love it.
So
Have you used that this episode yet?
I haven't
just
yet,
for like a placeholder?
I think this is going to be a regular on this live stream because it's so good. Yeah. Uh-oh, did you get cut out? Oh, you must have cut out for a second.
For a second.
No.
You could slap it Am I still gone?
No. I was killing some spammers in the chat.
Oh, spammers. Yeah. Anyways, okay. Thank you very much, Darren S. Love the GIF. Love the poster. Love it. All of our artists. Wonderful job.
Yep. That's it for the artwork. We are going to do our microfiction.
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 From Runk Smash.
Derwin slinks around the FBI headquarters, slipping under the locked doors and through the mail slots. Finally, he finds the box with his president's passports. He looks over the agent's report and is moved with compassion. He decides not to dox her. Oh, Derwin.
Oh.
Such a good guy.
So it's a she agent in the FBI.
Can you even imagine? Okay, I think that concludes. That's all of our microfiction,
That is
right?
it, yes. That's it.
Okay, that concludes our list of producers who have contributed to the show with their talents. If you're a talented person, a creative person, whatever you do, whatever you create, make something for the show and send it on in to canarycryradio@gmail.com. We'd love to feature it on the show. And yeah, even if we don't already have a section for your special talent, we will create one, I promise.
Let's wrap the show with the last couple things here.
The COVID-19 crisis would be seen as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber pandemic.
Oh, yeah, cyber pandemic. We haven't heard about that in a while. This one comes from theage.com.au. Massive Facebook glitch floods users' feed with celebrity posts. And it goes like this.
Okay.
Remember all those random celebrity pages you liked on Facebook when you were 14? Well, if you logged on to Facebook on Wednesday afternoon, you certainly got a reminder. A serious glitch in Facebook's algorithm has flooded users' feed with random fan messages posted to huge celebrity accounts such as Taylor Swift, Shakira, Kim Kardashian, Lady Gaga, and Eminem. And I got a screenshot here of some hearts. Some people
some hearts.
saying hi. Okay. Oh no. I've been locked out. Thank you for reading
Locked
The
out
Age.
of
This
what?
article is complimentary. Oh, I could still read it. Okay.
Oh, you finished all of your free.
Users have clocked on
articles.
to the meltdown. That's a weird. Is that an
What does that
Australian
even
phrase?
mean? It must be.
Someone from Australia, let us know what that means. Users have clocked on to the meltdown and have started spamming celebrity accounts with posts and memes, exacerbating the chaos on the platform. More opportunistic users are posting QR codes to their PayPal and Cash App accounts or plugging their businesses and Spotify accounts. Down Detector, a site that I know we did not take the opportunity.
We missed it. If we knew about it a little earlier.
Yeah. Down Detector, a site that tracks apps and website meltdowns through user reports, shows a spike in complaints about Facebook from about 3:45 p.m. on Wednesday. The scale of the glitch is enormous because it's affecting some of Facebook's most followed accounts. They include the pages of Cristiano Ronaldo. Do you know who that is, Basil?
A soccer player?
Yeah, good job.
Yeah,
which has 152 million followers. Shakira, do you know who Shakira is?
Soccer player.
Which has 116 million. And Rihanna, which has 101 million. And it just got some more pictures. There's the face slap. Okay. The glitch appears to be affecting Facebook in multiple countries across desktop and mobile. A spokesperson from Meta, Facebook's parent company, said, quote, "We're aware that some people are having trouble with their Facebook feed. We're working to get things back to normal as quickly as possible, and we apologize for any inconvenience," end quote. Then it goes into some stuff about when Facebook's been down.
What a strange glitch. Now, glitch is nothing. Glitch means nothing. We know
nothing,
this.
yeah.
Glitch, it's just like
It's not a
whoopsie
technical
daisies. It's a
term.
glitch. It's not a technical term. When they say glitch, what they mean is it could be anything. Could be a hack. Could be somebody messed up.
Yeah, somebody messed up in the back room. Yeah.
Yeah, messed up in the back room, something like that. Glitch is nothing.
You know, I got to say, just as a side note, one of your eyeballs is sort of like,
it's kind of
peeling off a little bit. So you have this crazy...
A squinty look.
Not squinty, more just insane kind of, eyeballs going in different direction kind of thing going on today.
You know, this quote-unquote glitch it's got such a beautiful irony to it, because the worst part about Facebook, and I don't mean just like the user experience, but I just mean it's what it represents, even just spiritually. The worst thing about Facebook is what's the word? The way that it supports celebrity culture, I guess, or even created its own celebrity culture, where the idea is, social media, you can like become a celebrity for just being on Facebook and being popular on social media or something.
It was the beginning of the influencer
the influencer thing,
segment or whatever it's called, sector.
Facebook being the sort of most hated.
You're looking for words.
I'm looking for the right words. It's like the most, because it's like the oldest one. It's
the first one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the first one. It's sort of the spiritual ancestor.
It launched the influencer culture.
It launched the culture, and something about flooding every Facebook feed with the most pointless, useless comments to official celebrities. There's kind of a thing where it's just like, oh, you like celebrities so much and you think what you have to say is so important? Well, we're gonna flood every feed with everything anybody's ever said about a big time celebrity. And take that, influencers and people who think they can be celebrities, or people who think they care about, oh, you like celebrities so much? Well, here's every possible piece of data and posts and nonsense that has ever crossed, the account of a celebrity. It seems like some sort of hellish punishment is what I'm saying.
It almost
feels like some new layer of hell in what's that guy's name? The guy who wrote the layers of hell, the levels of hell.
Oh, Dante.
Dante, yes. It's like a new level of hell in Dante's
Inferno.
Upgraded version of the Inferno 2022 edition. There's just a layer of hell that you can get sent to that is just every single post or message that anyone has ever sent to Shakira.
I like Steven's comment. Exhibit coming back to pimp my Facebook.
I don't get the reference. That's
an old
Pimp My Ride reference.
This is an old rapper, yeah. Just a funny thing. It does almost seem like if it is some kind of inside job or like an internal employee job or something, it could be kind of like a statement of the frivolous nature of Facebook or something,
Yeah, that's kind of what I was trying to say, but I found the Dante's Inferno metaphor to describe it. But yeah, that's funny. What a useless website. Nobody should be on Facebook anymore.
The uselessness goes further.
Welcome to the Metaverse.
Oh no.
Who should we tickle next?
I am not a lizard.
I am not a lizard, says Mark Zuckerberg. Futurism.com. This will be our last article today. Cursed filter turns anyone into metaverse. Mark Zuckerberg.
Cursed filter. Talk about a new layer of hell. This is what we're talking about.
Talk about the mark of the beast on the forehead. You literally have Mark's face on your face.
Not even his real face. His spooky metaverse
face. The article says Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg's Horizon Worlds avatar. It sounds so much cooler than it actually is.
Yeah,
Horizon Worlds avatar, as shown off by the social media founder himself in a recent screenshot, is nothing short. I think he meant short, not sort. Of horrifying. But if you took a look at that dead-eyed, me-esque avatar thought, and thought, I wonder what that face would look like on my face, then boy, do we have a treat for you. A haunting AR mask filter of his vacant visage now exists, and anyone with Snapchat can try it on for size. Why? Because the internet, because chaos, because, well, why not? Quote, I saw some YouTube videos about things you missed in movies the other day, and there were Michael Myers and Silence of the Lambs references, so I guess Halloween masks were top of mind. Matt Reed, a Nashville-based creative technologist and Horazuck mask creator, told Futurism. It's called Horazuck. Quote, of course, MetaMark's awesome Horizon avatar was trending, and I just put the two together and decided to see what a Zuck mask would look like. And it's the most terrifying.
And that's what it is. It looks, again, it's kind of like a punishment on the filter culture. So if y'all remember his avatar, this spooky, like dead-eyed zombie-looking version of Mark Zuckerberg that took a selfie in front of the Tower of Babel. No, dude, I'm losing my mind.
Tower.
What is Eiffel Tower?
Yeah.
Thank you. We covered last episode. Yeah, so that same spooky face, you got this filter. You can put that face on your face, and it literally looks like you have cut off his face and are wearing it like a spooky mask, a death mask, if you will.
Definitely a Silence of the Lambs reference.
It's very Silence of the Lambs, very, very spooky. But again, it's kind of I have the same feeling. It's like a new level of punishment in Dante's Inferno. It's like, oh, you like filters so much, society? Oh, you can't stand to have people see the blemishes on your face, or you just have to have dog ears in your selfie, and you have to, they have filters that do everything now. And it's just kind of like, oh, this is your eternal punishment for being so into filters, society. You now have to wear this filter where it makes your face the sort of frozen death mask of Avatar Mark Zuckerberg.
I think
that, you sinners.
I think this is also potentially the sort of setting the floor for the as we move into the metaverse and everyone kind of gets herded into the metaverse, you set the floor. You show the worst of the worst. Yeah, and so people are coerced into like, well, it's not as bad as MetaMark on my face.
At least it's not MetaMark.
Yeah.
The creepiest part is it keeps the eyes. So your eyes are the creepy Mark eyes. But when you open your mouth, it's the inside of your own mouth, like your own teeth. No. So you have this incredibly smooth, dead, vacant look on your face and your eyes, but you open your mouth and it's your real human meat mouth. It is terrifying. Jeez Louise.
You got to eat those meats somehow.
Yeah.
We don't have to go into the rest of this. This is just disturbing enough, and that'll do it for today's episode.
Yeah, the world is truly...
We'll leave you with MetaMark of the Beast on your forehead.
Coming closer to the end, folks.
Yeah.
And that's why you need to come back on Friday, because we'll be back on Friday doing our last show before this year's Burning Man research kicks off. If you'd like to produce this show or the Burning Man research project, I think we'll try to name the Burning Man research project people in something special.
Cool.
So you can do that by, well, there's lots of ways to do it, but go over to canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
And thank you very much to executive producer Moik and executive producer Anonymous for making this show possible. We appreciate it very much.
Thanks,
as well
Moik.
as all of the financial
And
support
Anonymous.
that we get from our producers. But remember, you can produce the show with your time, your talent, or your treasure. Uh-oh, that's not good. I ran out of space on my computer, so my recording will stop there, Gons.
Okay.
Nuts. Okay. Anyways,
Squirrels.
you can support the show with your time, your talent, or your treasure. And I'd like to thank a couple other producers who help us out on the back end, starting with our Clippy.
Clippy on those videos. Thanks.
Thank you very much. The Clippies, they manage the YouTube and the Odyssey channel for the Canary Cry Clips channel. They also do all the clipping of this show, segmenting it out into shareable, careable bites, and we thank them very much. That's producer Emsworth and producer Faye Liverin for making that happen.
Thank you to both of you.
And that would be very hard to do without our timestampers.
Timestamp.
Timestamp. It's hard work. Timestamp.
That's right. These timestamps go into so much of our back-end processes. And thank you to Jade Bouncerson for doing the timestamps for episode 525.
Thank you, Jade Bouncerson.
And thank you to our social media gal.
Oh, wait. We got a new one for
the
that
new
one,
ones.
right?
Got the new ones.
Okay,
Yeah, we got a
let's
few
see.
now.
Yeah. Okay. We'll start with the Davy Frost.
The social media consultant.
Thanks so much.
Thanks so much to Dame Miss G of the OV and Deep Rivers for making sure our art gets on the social media pages there.
Social media. Follow us.
Go to canarycrimeetups.com.
Canary Cry Meetup.
That's right. The meetups are happening, man. The meetups are happening. Oh, we forgot to do the meetup report. We'll do that on Friday's
right.
show.
That came in.
Yeah, we had the
I forgot
meetup in Knoxville, Tennessee yesterday, which is very fun. But if you go to canarycrimeetups.com, you can see all the meetups coming up, of which there are many coming up in just 3 days. The 27th is like the meetup holiday, apparently. It almost deserves making it onto the Canary Cry calendar. Who knows? But we've got, let's see here, Houston, Galveston, Texas on the 27th at 7:33. Get in touch with who? Davy Frost at gmail.com. Davy with an EY. Frost at gmail.com. Houston, Galveston, Texas, folks. Get ready. Ozark and Branson, Missouri on the 27th, 28th. Go ahead and get in contact with Gabby L at sundancer8910 at gmail.com to RSVP for that one. And of course, we got the Garland, Texas with a brand new cool meetup poster for that one. That's the recurring Texas meetup on the 27th. But if you don't make it this month, you can always make it next month. And then starting in September, we got the Denton, Texas. Texas charging it, man. Good job, Texas.
Oh, I gotta put that in there.
September 3rd in Denton, Texas, and Bend, Oregon on September 4th. And then Indiana on the 5th. Wow. Of September. We'll have all the details for those up on the site here soon.
We gotta update that. Yeah.
Head to canarycrynewstalk.com, canarycrymeetups.com rather. Find a meetup near you, get in contact with the host, and go on over there. It's a good way to spend your time meeting with human beings, fellowshipping, meeting your friends, your soulmates, all these fun things. And if there's not one near you, you can put one on yourself. It's easy. Well, that's what all these people did. You just pick a time and a place, let us know. We'll get a flyer made up and we'll tell the world. It is a great way to connect with Canarians in your community. canarycrymeetups.com. We'll see you there. Well, Gons, apparently despair and sadness is what it takes to get people to leave ratings and reviews.
Hey.
We need ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts. It's is a very important thing for podcasters like us, and it's something we can't do for ourselves. It has to be you guys. When we get a nice handful of ratings and reviews every week, hundreds of new people find the show. And I've been saying that for years now. And it seems like maybe people are trying to catch on. I mean, there are literally people who could be finding the show who do not find the show when we do not get ratings and reviews. We've had a few come in this week in response to my sorrow and the darkness that not having ratings and reviews casts over my visage during the week. So hopefully we can make it to 5 this week. That would be very helpful. Remember, it just takes a couple of seconds, folks. Nobody has taken me up on my request to tell me why you aren't leaving ratings and reviews. I've gotten no emails.
I got a note. I think somebody commented on YouTube that they have an Android phone and that if they're able to still leave a message, and I believe there is a way to do it. You just got to log into this page, the Apple Podcast page, through a web browser.
Tough.
Yeah, it's a little bit different.
That is the tough part about it, is that Apple Podcasts, just kind of whatever, for better or for worse, is one of the only podcast platforms that allows ratings and reviews, which is weird. But also is like 99% of all podcast listeners, not just our show, use Apple Podcasts. So it's kind of the most helpful one. Apparently, you can sign in on the browser and leave a rating and review. But if you're an Android user, you would have no reason to have an Apple account. So it might be, kudos to you.
I did look it up, and I think there is a way to do it. So I left the link in the last tips. I'll try to find it. And
all right, he's gonna try to give you some links to do that. That would be very helpful. If you do that, make sure to mention in your review that you did it on an Android, because you get an extra special kiss for going through the extra work.
Wow.
So thank you very much. Yeah, it's very important that we get ratings and reviews. It shares the show with people that would never see it otherwise. And when we don't get these ratings and reviews, it's noticeable, the numbers on our back end stuff. Just nobody finds the show if we don't get the ratings and reviews.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Thank you very much for all that.
Thank you.
Yeah. If we get 5 or more, I might go ooh woo this Friday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm not going to play it. I'm going to save it.
Not right now, though, apparently.
I'm going to save it. No, I'm saving it because,
I got you. I got you. Okay, we're figuring it out here. Thank you for the links, Jam. And other than that, share the show, my friends. Share the show with your friends, your family, your friends' family, your family's friends. It's very important. Podcast recommendations are highly valued when you know the person. You can also post links to the Canary Cry Clips channel. That's very helpful. All sorts of good ways to do that. And but we got some people who like to be unique. They like to do it things their own way, row their own boat, if you will, and they want to share the show in new and exciting ways that sort of expresses their individuality and their creativity. And one way you can do that go ahead and become some sort of artificial intelligence engineer, or maybe just purchase a fully fledged artificial intelligence off the dark web. Do not buy anything else off the dark web, but you can purchase some sort of open source artificial intelligence. Perhaps
careful with the open source, because the government's coming after all that open source right now. Yeah.
Do be careful. Make sure to have your lawyer look at it first. But that poor FN Meka virtual rapper who got dropped by Capital Music Group. Look, if you're getting dropped by Capital Music Group for being a racist AI, they're probably looking for an exit strategy over there at the FN Meka Corporation. And maybe they will just sell you their AI. And then you can take control of the most racist sort of artificially intelligent fake celebrity. But instead of teaching that AI on the dredges SoundCloud rap playlists and horrifically racist stereotyping of the black community. Instead, teach your FN Meka, cyber rapper, artificially intelligent virtual celebrity, just feed a bunch of Canary Cry news talk into it. Let it learn the truth. Truth or Bot 3000, baby. Your new and improved cyber celebrity who is going to become, just so popular on probably Getter or Truth Social, or perhaps Rumble or something. I don't know. But it's about time that we have an artificially intelligent fake robot celebrity who is not afraid to stick it to the man and start slanging truth about the mainstream news media, the legacy lizard people taking control of our flow of information. Instead, get this celebrity robot AI guy to start a podcast. Now, look, we don't want this AI to run rampant, steal our brand, and go ahead and, just put us out of a job finally. I mean, Canary Media, Adam Carolla, the guy who put googly eyes on his VR headset, all those people are trying their hardest to pry all of the hard work that Gons and I have put into this podcast. But instead, with your new Meka AI robo celebrity with millions of followers on TikTok, he's going to be doing a podcast, or she, and that podcast is simply going to be called Why Canary Cry News Talk is the Best Podcast in the World, a podcast by a robot. And you know how kids are these days. They'll eat that up. And they will follow him on TikTok. And suddenly we'll have a whole generation of TikTokers waking up to the fact that the mainstream media does not have their best interests in mind. That's just one way you can share the show. It doesn't have to be that way, but you can do it any way you want. If you need any more instructions, here's what you do. We call it rattling cages. All you got to do is walk up to him, grab him by the cage, and then shake that cage.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. Gons, any last words?
Let's see. 8/24. Oh, it was Kobe Bryant Day.
Oh.
Yeah.
The day he was born or the day he was unborn?
It's just actually a day they celebrate his numbers. He wore number 8 and also number 24. I guess it was his birthday on yesterday, or would have been birthday.
Oh.
And, he was represented the Black Mamba. Black Mamba is on the list of reptilians on this earth. So I'll just leave that there.
Okay, sounds good. Toph had a great name for our artificially intelligent podcast celebrity robot. CCN Taka.
Oh, I like that.
Taka. Yeah,
or CCN Tekka, maybe?
Tekka, yeah, it could be Taka. But there you go.
That's
There's
a good
a thing.
one.
Thank you, Toph.
Shorter playlist today, just because I gotta get out of here.
We gotta get
pretty far.
We gotta
today.
get.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody. Thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage. Yay.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
You little rascal. I am so hot.
You're so hot.
I'm... Gons. I am so hot. So hot.
He's a Satanist from one of the Satanist churches here where they sacrifice babies.
I love the Great Reset.
CanaryCryRadio.com/support.
Oops. Bye-bye.